Hey everyone, and welcome to F4 Obsessed, a deep dive, a weekly show where we discuss F4 Thailand from a symbolic and meta perspective. I'm Ty, your host, and my co-host is Marie Claire, who I call MC. Say hi, MC, for the last time.
Hi. No, not the last time.
Well,
We'll be back.
I'm gonna use a different intro next week, so it's the
Good.
last time like this.
Yes. The last time like this.
Yeah.
Yeah. For our deep dive analysis, which, wow, has this been a journey?
Yeah, it has.
I mean, over the course of, we started in December.
Yeah, it feels like a lifetime ago.
Yeah.
And yet I feels like I blinked and it was over. So, I mean, I know a lot of people feel that way. We've been on this journey a very long time with learning different things week to week about ourselves, about, each other that we were talking to, like learning new things in myth and in symbolism, like even you and me. And it's a lot to pack into these last few months. And
it feels like a boot camp of symbolism that we've given. And like people are like, wait, stories do this? And I'm like, yes, they do. And you're like, yes, they do. And they do it in these really cool ways. And this story is like really good at that. Like
really good.
Really good at that. And that's been the most
it's been
rewarding. I don't know, shocking thing.
Yeah, it's been shocking. It's been what is the show and all that, like and ultimately it's been rewarding, and it's been up until the very, 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 very end, the last thing that they did in this show. I mean, I'm just absolutely blown away.
But and that's why we wanted to have a live celebration like next week. So when the show normally airs on YouTube, we're going to be going live and doing a live F4 Obsessed. And we're going to talk about the whole show.
Yep.
Some of the fandom aspects, some of our own experiences. We're going to have cool polls.
Yeah.
So you can participate in those.
Yeah, well, we're going to put out the polls when this episode comes out. So look out for that. It'll be in the liner notes. I'll post a comment. I'll put it on Twitter. Really fun questions that you can answer based on your experience with the show. Some are silly, some are serious, but it should be fun. And also you have a chance to ask us questions, anything you would like that we can talk about on the live stream. And yeah, the live stream will happen next Saturday or on April 16th at the same time that the show normally airs. It'll be I think that's like 9:45 Eastern time. I don't remember what time it is for you, Marie Claire. It's earlier
7:45.
Yeah, 7:45.
But it's evening for many of our people who have been watching the deep dives in the show with us. Right. And so we're hoping to get as many people like across Europe and across the globe as possible by doing it that early in the morning for us, for me.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll also do we're doing a video on that, some of our experiences, like the Twitter experience and the comments.
We're doing the video. I'm participating by moral support.
Yeah, I'm making a small video. It'll just be something fun. And again, like if you can't make it for the live, then all this is going to be recorded. It'll all go on YouTube, and you can even see the live chat as it was. If you missed out, you'll be able to see that and kind of be a part of the experience by proxy. But yeah, so also we just wanted to touch upon the fact that this is not the end for us. At least I have some video essays planned that I'm going to do about the show as a whole. I want to talk more about hero's journey, heroine's journey type stuff. I want to filter this into a bigger idea about the lover's journey. I think the story is like the perfect place to start with that.
So good.
Yeah. So I'm really excited for that. So definitely look out for that. And I think it'll answer a lot of questions that some people have had that have been like lingering, because we did kind of stumble into it probably a third of the way through the show.
We knew it was going to happen. We just like didn't realize like how strong it was going to happen. So
exactly,
once we could see it, it was easier to talk about it. I may, no promises, do a bell hooks analysis, because I think it deserves like a full thing. And you've been bugging me for a while to do that, so I may
should
do
bug
it.
you more about it. I think so. Yeah, I've only bugged you maybe once about it, but yeah, you should definitely do it. I think it would be really, really worthwhile.
Yeah, I'm still shocked at how anti-patriarchal, anti-violence this show is.
Yeah, same. And it all goes in together, like the idea of the journey is the lover's journey, whatever you want to call it, alongside like the anti-patriarchal messaging and everything. All of this is all just working so well together. And
the elixir of a better tomorrow, all of that.
Yeah, it's stuff we knew this existed. We knew that these things were related, but to see it all come together is just incredible. All right, so let's get into our comments review first. These are fairly long comments. A lot of people had some bigger analyses for the last episode. I mean, of course they did, because that episode was really intense. So first off, we have Aoife Ford, who said, I think that the scene where Tom gets stabbed is him finally showing his true nature and how he has changed from the beginning of the show, both by the action of sacrificing his life for someone else, but also during this whole episode, as he was regressing and almost pretending to be someone else. He was wearing black and then the lighter colors, but as he became who he truly is the color red from the blood that was seeping and spreading across his clothing. So at the end, it all became red. It was like he was finally showing his true color and nature to his mother and the world, as the reporters were there to take pictures, which would be shown everywhere. And this is cool because in this episode that we got today, in the final episode, Gorya says something along the lines of like, he's not a doll, he's your blood. So we have now this symbol of blood, which is interesting, being red and it symbolizing his true self, right? Because blood is only yours. Your blood is only yours. So,
and he is unique in who he is, and he is not like this cardboard cutouts. But we've had several cardboard cutouts in the show.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Oh man,
we've had dolls, we've had cardboard cutouts. Yeah, interesting.
So good. And then we have the next comment, which is, I believe, pronounced a tiki burr.
Oh,
maybe
that sounds right. I don't know.
Maybe.
Sorry.
I loved that Ren took Gorya to the ocean on his date with all his connections to water that you've discussed. He was like, wow, Gorya, isn't the ocean nice? Don't you want to go in the ocean? Which is symbolically me. I won't push you in though, but later I'll draw us together and I will be the ocean in the picture. That was when he was coming at her, and Gorya said, don't. It totally foreshadowed the bridge scene later, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, so we talk about these things beforehand, and I couldn't stop laughing at this comment because it's so good.
Yeah, because like if you want to watch the entire show again and just every time water is in the picture, just pretend it's red. It's just the funniest thing, because it's most of the time it's
not
true.
Rain, but
no, not rain, but like like the water, like the pool, and like the pools are typically like red, and again like putting out Tom's fire and like all of that's all in there, you know. So
it's neat. They know their symbols,
and
they stick with them. He is the ocean, or like rivers.
Exactly. I'll read Hufflin Puffs next, who had a pretty long one, so stick with me here. They said, what things I did like when Tom had his breakdown and in revealing he still had feelings for Gorya, while his very adult song Nighttime played in the background, that he finally stopped being childish, and saying that he still thought of her all the time was a very adult admission. It makes me wonder about the last episode. I know Roselyn's redemption arc will take place because they did it for every villain in the show, and Thai dramas, as I mentioned before, tend to give some reason to why they've acted the way they have. Hale, Hana. And I love the whole aspect of Tom rescuing Gorya without knowing her. This happened in the last episode of Hana Yori Dango, and it was my favorite part of the series, that Damyuji's instinct was to go find Makino despite not recovering his memory. His very essence never forgot her, and that made me love that part. I hope that they do that and not do the add a chick at the end. So, proposal scene. Do you think the first episode of episode 1 of them meeting at the stadium at night will be the thing, a bookend to bring the series full circle?
You are correct.
Yeah. This is so interesting.
Yeah, I have thoughts on like proposal gate.
Proposal gate. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you know, people were like, fake proposal, but
yeah,
I have lots of thoughts on that. And to me, it was as close as like these characters could get in that moment.
Yeah. And I think,
but yes, it was full circle.
It was full circle. Yeah. I mean, obviously we saw the episode today, so we know exactly what happened, but another thing I wanted to point out was the nighttime stuff and about like the growing up aspects.
Mm-hmm.
That's another thing we're going to talk about probably a lot for this episode, is the fact that this is a story about growing up, and there's a reason why we don't have some explicit things going on in it, and we don't have adult situations. We just have like these allusions to adult situations because they're kids essentially. So we can talk about the symbolism of puberty and of growing up and all of that and what it means, but at the end of the day, this is not a story about adults. This is a story about teens. So I just think that's really interesting, because we can say what nighttime means but it means multiple things, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I'm getting at.
It needs, like, you can get away more with symbolism and illusion than you can necessarily with like hardcore on scene activity.
Yeah, exactly. As much as we want to see it, you know, this show is not like that. So
I would say that it's illusion and symbolism and leaving the mind to wander is much like the shark in Jaws. As soon as you see the shark, the illusion is broken and it's never going to live up to your imagination.
True.
Whereas the spaces between these things give ourselves more room to play and make it fill in the blank and better than we can possibly imagine. That works for so many people. Sometimes it doesn't work for people. They want to see the monster, or they want to see the romance, or they want to see the direct interaction.
Yeah, and I want to see that too, but I like, yeah, both work for me in their different contexts, I think. So yeah, it's fine if it doesn't, but
yeah, it just wasn't that type of show.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah. The next comment is from Zoa Batul. There are lush wheat stalks on Ren's shirt on the back waiting to be harvested. Yes, he's like, please harvest me, Gorya.
Yeah, I love that. We talked about how his shirt, this was the shirt that he was wearing at the sea, and we talked about it being like symbolic of him like kind of blending into the background of that countryside. And yeah, I like this idea that it's waiting to be harvested. That's just so cool. By goddess Gorya.
Yeah.
Ia B said the Tom Gawin MJ scene will forever go down as one of my favorite scenes. No toxic masculinity in sight, and it truly shows their maturity as well as their childlike behavior when they teased Tom. I really liked the way the F3 decided to help Tom in business, showing that they are not company juniors just for show, and they are helping not just for Gorya, but for other people as well. I agree with your comment that this is truly a modern telling of a fairy tale. The whole kingdom will be healed. And it was. Yay. Our whole kingdom got healed. All right. we have our last who, what, where. I think we actually managed to like do all the main characters, which is
because you did hunting, which I didn't have a chance to.
I did hunting poorly.
No.
I went back and I watched more of it, and some of my absolute comments were not spot on, but I think I got the general gist of it. But hunting's is not complete, but we did get everyone else's that's a main. So yeah, tell us about Kavin.
Yeah, so we've talked a lot about on the show, and he was very hard, so that's why I like saved him to the end.
Yeah,
because he shifts, right? He is literally a shapeshifter, which we can tell by his Maison Kitsune outfits, which of course Kitsune is a nine-tailed fox from that's the Japanese name of a nine-tailed fox, which is prevalent in China and Japan and of course Korea as far as mythology goes, and they're known primarily as shapeshifters and seducers, which totally goes along with his character. But they shapeshift, and they can actually they quite commonly turn into humans, and they're able to do that kind of after 100 years of cultivation or stealing people's souls. It's very vampire-ish in it, but we've talked about how he's also sort of like a magician or the court magician or a magician type archetype. And so he adapts himself to the situations that are around him, specifically when he is around Tom and with sort of his compatriot MJ. They tend to dress like as the need requires. So often he's wearing red and MJ is wearing black or leather, and it's like, or he's wearing like fur because Tom is wearing fur. It's like he wears his like, I don't know,
like a piece of Tom.
Yeah, like a piece of Tom. Like they both kind of reflect what Tom is got going on in scenes, especially when it's like court duties are required. So like when they're in the stadium, or when he's advising Tom, or when he's like the last episode, he's standing in the place of Tom, he's wearing pink and MJ's wearing black. It's like black leather specifically as his over jacket. But it starts to change a little bit when Hanning is introduced into his environment. He starts to wear more blues, which complement the yellows that have been typically associated with her. And he wears fuzzy teddy bears as well as flowers over his chest that are daisies, which are her flower. The bottom corner is also another version of how MJ and Kavin reflect each other. They will often be oppositely dressed. Like, so MJ usually wears mostly black, so he'll wear black, but with a little bit of white. And then Kavin will often wear white with a little bit of black. And it usually is there to say there's some sort of decision or some sort of important moment that they are standing to remind the audience that there's something happening, because the main characters have to wear like a different outfit later on in a scene. And so they're like, they're always like together to be like, hey, this is like a decision moment. It's fascinating when you look at all of it in context.
Yeah, it is. We talked about in the very beginning how MJ and Kavin are the threshold guardians, and how they stand as like obstacles to Tom and then to Gorya later in the show. And even like to Hanning at some point when she's acting as like Gorya's lady's maid and whatnot. But it's funny that this continued throughout the entire thing. Like we thought we were so
consistent.
It was so consistent. We thought we were going to get more clear development, I think, from these characters, but I'm actually kind of glad that they stayed like kind of the same in this area, because we can see like the little hints of the fact that they're growing in other details, like the flowers on his chest, or just the little things, because we have been on this whole journey and we have been paying attention throughout the whole thing. So symbols can change, symbols can evolve, new symbols can be important that weren't important before. So it's just really cool to see the whole thing now, especially with your whole breakdown here.
Yeah, and like seeing how often he wore the Maison Kitsune shirt or the teddy bear shirt, or sort of usually when he was around hunting, he wore the Maison Kitsune shirt, or the teddy bear shirt. Like there's both of those. And there was a more introduction. He always wore a little bit of beige, always, but he introduced blue after he was together, or after he started to kind of really be invested in hunting, which is a lot
more blue.
Yeah, there's way more blue in the last couple of episodes.
Yeah, I noticed that too. That was a strange change. Cool. That's a good one. All right, let's go to, we are doing a lore. We haven't done a lore in a long time because the comparisons between all these versions gets really crazy towards the end of every version. It's like really hard to compare them. It's hard to like find the similarities, hard to like find, you know, which parts and which versions are similar.
Yeah. I mean, F4 Thailand and Meteor Garden 2018 were the only versions that had the full version of the story.
Right. And that had the whole version because like, the manga had been like finished and whatnot. So we have, and because it's like, it's very complicated. So I even hesitated in doing this because I don't want to spend a lot of time on it. So to summarize, the manga ends in a few different ways. It's kind of hard to actually determine the ending. But there is a proposal in the manga, essentially, right?
I mean
it's like,
so Ryu like forces it on Damaji. So
right.
Damaji, essentially Makino got hurt and Damaji rushes back to help her, but Ryu's in the hospital. And so he's like, oh, Ryu's here, I'll leave. And he leaves his like engagement ring that he was going to propose to her there. And so Ryu like ships Makino across the ocean to Pisa, where he like Damaji is for some reason, and sets up the ring there so they can't mess it up.
Yeah.
And Damaji gets mad at Ryu for like, what does he think? Like we're idiots?
Yeah. Yeah. And there's like,
and then Ryu's like, I guess I'll go grow some grapes, some wine. I'll buy a winery because I have that much patience.
Yeah. Like it's very weird. I was reading it today and I'm like, weird. What is this? Like, and then also like the last like one, like 241, 242, like they're even weirder, like because there's the whole the Mira characters getting married. There's that whole thing. So there's a lot of strange stuff that goes on. There's also a prom scene. There's also a prom scene in the manga where she shows up late, but she does make it, and she shows up with her dress, but she's still in her school uniform, but she's like holding on to the dress. So there's a lot of that kind of stuff that goes into the other versions from the manga. I think ultimately the manga kind of went off the rails or way before the ending, because there's a lot of pressure for like that kind of format for like webtoons and manga and whatnot to continue, just to keep going. And with love stories, of course it's going to go off the rails, because the only way to keep going is to keep putting your main characters through more hardships and more conflict and keep them from being together in terms of like an actual commitment. So that's where that happened. But then like the 2001 version we don't have on here because that version didn't follow the manga in the second half of it. That was a completely different story, an original story. They did have Amnesia, but they didn't, like everything else is just very different. But they
tried to put as much as they could in like Meteor Garden 2,
right?
But it's still kind of a mess,
right? And they do end it with them kissing at a kind of a temple or a church of some sort. Yeah. So that's kind of a symbolic marriage, because they they, you know, say their feelings and whatnot. And then there's like F3 nearby who are enjoying themselves,
They're drinking
beers. Yeah.
out of like a it's like a convenience store.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
It's
Just very chill, I have to say, compared to the other versions. And then we get the 2005 version, which this particular episode aired in 2007. This was the second season of Hana Yori Dango, the Japanese version. And this version ends at a stadium, and Damuji is waiting there, and this is supposed to be prom, and she shows up late to the prom, and she walks in and everything's dark. This might sound familiar for those who watched the final episode today of F4 Thailand. Everything is dark, and then the lights come on, and Damuji is there, and there's all these people in the stands, and he asks her to marry him, and they have a dance. They actually don't kiss in the stadium, which is crazy. Like, I was like watching this, like, they don't kiss in the stadium? Like, what? They actually kiss in a after, kind of like, there's like an after credits kind of stuff that rolls, and they show everything that's happened with all the characters, like catch up to the characters a little bit later, and they do go back to their first date spot, and that's where she kisses him, and we get a silhouetted kiss in that version. So, and then the 2009 version goes absolutely haywire. There's a time jump of 4 years.
Yeah, when Tom said that in this episode, I died. I was like,
too.
No.
Me too. I was like, absolutely not.
It was homage to
to this,
I think. Yeah. And she's in school to become a doctor.
Yeah.
And Ryu follows her because that's what they did in that version.
Yeah.
And
that's what they did. Yeah.
Then he shows up on a helicopter and proposes
on the beach. Yeah. And then the rest of the F3 like come together, and like, yeah, they all are happy for them.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's that. I think that's the most disappointing version out of all of them. I thought that was just such a letdown, but I also, that version I'm not as fond of as some other people are, so I'm sorry if that's your favorite. And then the 2018 version, which is,
well, we get the whole wedding surprise thing where she's wedding, like kidnapped, weird dreamlike dance sequence by his sister.
Yeah.
Like weird proposals by the rest of the F3.
Yeah.
Like it is a fever dream. And then we get denouement, product placement.
Yep.
And then we get them living somewhere with Lei.
Lei's just there. Like Lei just happens to be there.
He's like there making sure that they're okay, which is very similar to the manga, like in a way, right? Like it's so like they all kind of get it, but also like they're kind of like all different versions of the same concept.
Yeah, and I have to say, like, F4 Thailand pulled from all of them. Like, absolutely pulled from all of them. Even like the 2018 version, like the meteor shower thing, it ends with the meteor shower with all the characters looking up at the sky together. And then there's an after credits type of thing. I'm not sure if it's after the credits, but you know what I mean. Like they have like the day
they're wandering down the street thing. And they sing the song.
Yeah, they sing like the theme song, and the director comes out, who also directed the 2001 version. So Angie Kai. So there's just a lot in the 2018 version. It's like, this is not the end. This is the end. No, this isn't the end. This is the end. So
I'm gonna shampoo your hair. Okay.
I love that part. They did have domestic bliss in the 2018 version, but again, the 2018 version had always been set in college. So this was not just about like kids. Like this is about growing into adulthood, but we actually got the adulthood part. We actually got the transition into adulthood. So that was interesting. All right. Oh, that was our last lore. So sad. Let's quickly go through Tom's hero's journey. So do you think that we got a full and complete hero's journey?
Yes,
of course.
I have no doubt. I knew as soon as we saw his Paisley shirt that we were gonna get the ends officially.
I thought it was really interesting that the Master of Two Worlds almost becomes this idea for Tom, like he's living in like America and then he comes back to Thailand, but he's like, and then there's the part with the screen where he's living in the in-between essentially. So
and he has the power to go between and do what he needs to do.
Yeah there's a lot of really cool stuff with that I liked.
And he brought the elixir
mm-hmm.
to America.
Yeah,
like he changed business in America. He changed how things were done.
Yeah.
In elsewhere other than just like Southeast Asia.
Right. Yeah. And
wow.
like if you can affect like the American business world, then you're affecting what affects essentially everything else.
The whole world. Yeah. Like he went beyond and again healed everything.
Yeah.
So
it was fast and they tried to summarize it as much as they could, but it happened.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, I mean, and he got to do things his way, which is the middle way, right? The middle way is your own journey. You figured out how to make everything happen your way.
Yeah. And he says that he accomplished his dream, like his dream, which was to focus the company on the people and to spread that and to promote that and to use their influence. Like that was really cool. I was really happy about it. All right. What about Gorya's heroine's journey?
Yeah.
This was a little bit hard for me because I think, you know, I would have done something differently. One thing. I mean, I've done a lot of.
Let's talk about it.
One thing was I wish Gorya would not have been in her school uniform.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I'm like, I disagree with this choice. Like, I actually disagree with this choice. Everything else I understand and I even understand this choice. Like, I get it, but I don't agree with it.
I disagree with the choice too. So don't feel
thank God.
don't feel alone. I can't actually justify going on a journey and being in the same outfit,
right?
That you started your journey in,
right?
Even though the journey was wonderful, it doesn't show truthfully how much you have changed and what you have become. And this is just an entire gut shot to Star Wars.
Ooh.
Me saying this out loud.
I didn't even think about that very clear. Damn it.
I'm sorry. I just have to say, like, this is, if you're like, I just want product placement and recognizability. But I understand why they did it, because they wanted to tie back to the very first episode and her entering in on the field of stars in like Tom's imagination, right? Because that was totally his imagination as he's like thinking about this moment.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, she could have had a costume change before they started dancing. Like they could have, they
could have been like, and we have your, we bought you an extra one because we knew you'd get the first one totally messy.
Yeah, exactly.
And like, we haven't seen her in the white tulip dress.
Yeah, it blows my mind that we never got that. Like, it's very strange. At the same time, like, I understand
saving it for something.
Unless they're saving it for something. I saw you guys theorizing on Twitter. I was like, don't get my hopes up.
I won't. It's tinfoil tiaras. There's no such thing as wrong, right?
Yeah, true.
If there is a post-credit thing, like a special or like an event that they're like, and we filmed all this extra stuff and here you go, that counts as part of her journey. So
yes,
maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. Regardless, we talked about how she reconnected with her feminine in the last episode. She was, and the kind of the beginning of this episode, the kind of the healing and reclaiming part, because she was testing her power. Like literally, like she went to Tom and she was like, I got to make you remember again. I don't know how, but I'm going to try everything I can. I'm going to use my allies. I'm going to use my nurturing aspects. I'm going to show you what I've done for you. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. That's all her trying to use everything that she's learned. And then literally healing the wounded masculine.
Well, healing Roselyn first, she was successful at, and then healing the wounded masculine through the confrontation.
Right.
right after kind of getting through that point. Yes, healing Tom. I just wish we had actually seen her like, and again, it's like semantics at this.
Yeah,
you know, it's like, would have been better if she was, but the world changed around her, right? Like it changed for her. They healed the stadium for her. They brought in all of these people. They stayed super late. Tom made the world a special place for her no matter what. And she didn't have to like change her outfit to make that happen. But
well, and the
it means something. Yeah.
Yeah. And like we've talked about before, how the heroine's journey is like way more of an internal journey than it is an external journey. So I mean, it would have been nice to have the symbolism to show how far she's come on her internal journey. But we also know that she has been through these things and she has been through these trials and all that. So we know that she has reached the end of this, at least for now, like at least, you know, what she needed to get out of this part of her story. But like, yeah, like there's things that they could have shown that would have made it more clear and would have kind of hit the point of home a little bit better, I think.
We saw her wearing the necklace, which is the most external part.
Yeah, it is. I mean, that, and they have made that important throughout. So yeah. And I do like the idea that, like there's a lot of things that were said, I think so that kind of gives us a lot. Like there's a lot of things that she said, a lot of her narration that was really important, that shows that she has learned all these things. She has incorporated like the feminine and the masculine within herself, those sides of her into one. And she has overcome some of the stuff that she didn't understand before about F4, about herself. And we'll talk about that more towards the end, I think. But yeah, so it's really interesting, the kind of choices that they made here. And I also don't want to kind of glaze over the fact that they did just shoot this and then they edited it like super, super, super fast.
This was filmed on Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Which is no time whatsoever.
I cannot even wrap my head around how they finished this that quickly. So kudos to them regardless.
It works.
It works. So yeah, we wanted to pre-show thoughts. The show starts with this line that says, and this is Gorya talking. She says, "Have you ever thought about how ordinary teens like us can make a difference?" And this line comes up 2 more times in the show. And I believe you had some pre-show thoughts.
I have lots of thoughts, but I do want people to kind of like keep in mind, like, because they placed it right at the start of the show, this is going to be the moral of the season.
Yeah.
Right. And this is the last episode. And so they're saying it. So why tell a story like this? Why? Right.
Yeah.
So these are in what Ty and I have talked about in a ton of other stuff, right? These are transcendent concepts. The idea that you can literally change the world around you is a really hard concept for people who are really down and out, right? Like, so an ordinary teen can make a difference. It feels at the start of this that it feels almost like semi powerless. Like, can we actually make a difference? And it's speaking directly to the intended audience, which is teens, telling them, have you ever thought about actually making a difference? Have you ever thought about how this is giving you tools for you to listen to in the future?
Yeah.
Stories like this are telling us to hope and also take a chance on making a better future. It's kind of like how Ty and I talk to the audience and say, like, we don't own analysis. We don't own symbols. You're going to see new things and you're going to want to talk about them. And Gorya is talking directly to the audience and saying, I'm giving you the elixir.
Yeah.
The rest of this episode will be me giving you something. And what it is a roadmap for yourself to ask yourself, is the impossible possible?
Yeah, we talked about this a little bit on the last episode. Like the whole point of like why the hero's journey, heroine's journey, like analyzing story in this way, other ways to analyze story as well, right? That we don't really talk about as much, but the whole point is that stories are the elixir. Like stories or stories have the potential to be the elixir if they're showing us a journey from beginning, middle, end, right? If they're showing us like this struggle and overcoming a struggle, like that is the elixir for us. So if you watch this show and you're thinking about those things and you're really getting into it and you're really like trying to like understand it, not just from a meta context, not like what we do necessarily, but if you really like it and it's affecting you on an emotional level, then you're getting the elixir, you're gaining the elixir. So it's not hard, it's not difficult, it's just like opening yourself up to what the creators are trying to say. And like
because what they are saying will get into your subconscious because of all of the symbolism and all of the metaphor and all of the tropes and all of the illusion, right? It's going to speak to a part of your brain. And then when you're faced with, can I make a difference as a question in your life, you're going to say, maybe, yes, of course, and you're going to be brave and you're going to get past that part of you that says there is no hope. This is a hope punk story.
Yeah.
Right. This is telling you that the impossible is possible. Fairy tale, like happily ever after, we can make a difference in the world, and we can actually, you as a teen, because speaking to teens in the audience, you can make a difference and you can change the world no matter how small. You will make a difference.
Yeah, I really liked that at first, like the first time this line is used, I really liked that the idea was calling out that, yeah, these are just teens and this is just a high school drama, but you can affect the world. It
gains over the course of the episode. Yeah,
exactly.
And in some ways it how it's used at the start of the episode, it seems in reference to Tom.
Yes,
because we see his wound, we see the
news,
the panic, the news around it.
Yep.
It's like he's 19 or he's 18. He's still a teen.
He's 19, but yeah, he's still a teen.
No, he's 19 at the end. He's 18, or he's gonna be turning 19 because it's graduation. He's 18 when he gets stabbed.
It was a year later, which would hits they say
he is 19. You're right.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of, I'm pretty sure it is because
you're right. Yeah. I was wrong.
But still, again, he's still a teenager.
Yeah, he's still a teenager. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it does change, it progresses, and it's really cool that they're leaning into that. So yeah, we get the news report of Tom, the fact that he's being wheeled into the hospital. This was all very intense. And then we get the people on Twitter commenting about, like, most of them are saying, oh my God, I can't believe what's happened. I'm so sad for him. Who did that? All that kind of stuff. And then we get one person amongst the crowd who says, didn't he deserve it though? And this goes back to when, in the Atonement episode, whenever people were talking on Twitter, like this is kind of, again, this is very meta. People were talking on Twitter whether or not Tom deserved to get away with everything he did, like whether he deserved what he got. He escaped punishment. And I think our commentary on all of that, it was essentially that Tom is now, as of that episode, he did experience a death and a rebirth, and there is no such thing as people, earning, there's no such thing as like anyone who doesn't deserve atonement or doesn't deserve redemption in these types of stories. That's not a thing.
All you have to do is make one choice to do something different, right, at the right time.
Right. And then he proved himself by stepping in front of his mom, right? Yeah. He atoned for regressing for that year that he did, and for all the things that he did in the business world. He atoned for that as soon as he as he made that choice. So it's just interesting to see it called out so thick, because we kind of moved past this in a way as of the Atonement episode, but you can see like that's never going to go away. That's never going to be.
You have to keep on making the right choice. That's the thing. Like, because it's all about making choice after choice after choice. The choices never stop.
Yeah, totally.
And that shows it very realistically. I love that Roselyn is like, nah, back to the meeting.
Yes. And there's one shot, I think. Yeah, there's one shot right before this that I didn't get, but it's of the full moon.
Oh,
it's a full moon. I was like,
that's crazy.
What? Yeah. So we've talked a lot about how, I think, Sass and Sage brought it up on Twitter at one point during last week's episode about how Roselyn is seemingly acting in these like moon phases and these in her outfits and whatnot. And we talked about a little bit on our talk last week, but now I'm really leaning into it because this full moon like symbolizes typically it's complete and growth. It's a full moon is the strongest, most powerful phase of the moon. It has the most powerful pull on the earth during that time. It also inspires like, myths of insanity, lunatics, and Roselyn is acting a little bit crazy, unhinged. And also another thing, I was listening to the Salome podcast today, which is like Jungian podcast, and they were talking about how the moon carries the sun's light. And how like mythically and like symbolically the sunlight, the moon is carrying the sunlight, the moon is carrying starlight. It's just a very beautiful way of looking at it. And Roselyn is like carrying Tom's light. I just think it's really
that's so cool.
Isn't it cool?
That's good.
But yeah, she's totally like, get back to work, keep your head down. I think you had some really cool thoughts about this.
Like in patriarchal culture, this is all bell hooks again, but there's a feeling that a mother's influence, i.e. directly loving your child and like teaching them love and loving boys especially, will ultimately be harmful to male children. And so at some point they stop, right? Like in patriarchal culture, and I'm not saying all moms, but patriarchal moms do, right? They say like, stop being weak, stop crying, stop needing hugs from me. And the idea is that their love weakens them. And men and women in patriarchal culture sometimes like say like, stop mothering your child, your boy, right? You'll make him weak. Because there's this idea that emotion weakens you, and being disconnected from your emotions makes you stronger and prepared for the future to deal with the dominant society. That is all about domination. And so she legitimately cries because she's questioned about her love, because she does love him, because she thinks that, and this is something like you and I discussed last week, which I agree with you, she does love him, but it's like she thinks she's doing what's right because that's what society has told her is right. Right. She has to make him strong so that he can dominate others, so that he can get what he wants, because these things are supposed to be what you want. And we've talked about how capitalism and patriarchy are interconnected, and there is no difference between them. Like if you want to exist in if you don't want to exist in a capitalist society, you have to attack patriarchy. If you don't want to exist in a patriarchal culture, you have to attack capitalism. And she sees those two things as, she doesn't see it, but they are equivalent to her. She sees that she has to get back to work because she has to build space for Tom. She has to prepare for Tom, and she has to be emotionally withdrawn and mutilate his emotions because she has to make him strong so that he can be king of capitalism.
this is the only way this is the only thing she knows. Like, she doesn't know any other way. She doesn't know any other way to,
many people in patriarchal culture only know this.
Right.
They're never given alternatives.
Exactly. And I think that's kind of where I'm coming from with her character, is that she has not been taught another way. And therefore this is the only way she knows how to love. This is the only way she knows how to express her care and her love for the only thing that matters in her life. So
poor Tia.
I know, poor Tia. Tia is like, this is actually your fault.
Yeah.
And the fact that Roselyn does cry here again shows us like this is like her exterior is breaking, and things are showing through little by little. The fact that she sheds a tear is like, oh, it's so good. But she does say like it's too late now. Like it's interesting because she's like, the doctors have it, I don't have to deal with it right now. I need to do what I need to do because, and it's funny, it's like she knows that Tom's not going to die, right? Mm-hmm. Like she knows he's not going to die because how could he? This is everything to her. He's her entire life. If he dies, there's nothing else for her if he dies at this moment, because she does learn to love Tia as well. But as of now, like Tom is
it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
because
she wouldn't be anything without him.
This is also bell hooks, but patriarchal mothers are taught to be like value boys more than girls.
Yep.
Girls have to shoulder all the weight of their mother's expectations, but boys are like these golden children.
Exactly.
Who can do no wrong, and you have to make way for everything. And I do love how Tia calls her out to basically be like, your violence, i.e. in society, led to this violence. And these are all interconnected because living in a domineering way only produces the language of violence.
Yeah.
Is an outcome. And oh man, this show just gets it.
Yeah. Tia basically calls out like, this is the system you've created. That's why this happened, which that really leads a lot to, systemic problems, like you said, like with capitalism, patriarchy. Like this is all her doing, but she didn't directly cause it. This is her system that she's created.
But she is also okay. So there's two things. One, she is a product of the system, right? So we have to forgive anyone who is a product of systematic culture, right? We have to, or else we have nowhere to go.
Yeah.
Right. But as soon as she's made aware of it, as soon as she knows, like Tia calls her out, it's now her choice.
Yeah.
And we ourselves also have a choice. We have to act if we are aware of the systematic system, like the system, and we have the ability to change things. We have to act. That's the two mistakes. Like she was part of the system. She wasn't aware of it. Now she's aware of it. Now she's been made aware, and Gorya calls it out better. But after Gorya, if she chose to like go back to it, it's like, no, now you are part of the system, and you've chosen to be part of the system.
Absolutely. Yep.
But we can always forgive people if they choose to make the right choice in the end.
Yeah, exactly. I love it. So then we get just a quick shot of Tom,
shirtless Tom. What was it? Melody.
That was it. Yep. Melody's like, this better not be the only shirtless Tom that we get, or something like that. Something to that effect.
It was.
It was the only shirtless Tom we got in the episode. So
like
funny.
Flashing to Gorya as his memories all messed up, and
and this was kind of the end of Gorya's intro narration, right? I still believe a miracle will happen someday as long as the future awaits us. Like this is setting us up for like that, like the beginning, middle, and end points where she says essentially the same thing, but a little different. And then her face starts fading away in his mind, which are the POV shots that we've gotten, the Tom vision shots. So it's pretty cool. And then we get the intro, which is not the intro, not Who Am I, like we were thinking it was going to be, not the regular one. Instead, it is a black and white flower drawing, which is her shoe drawing, essentially. Just one singular flower with all of the names of the main cast floating around it.
And I love how it's like connecting, like growing up and like heading meteor like towards
Bright's character. Yeah.
His
name. Yeah, it's growing like from Two's name to Bright's name. And it's just it's so perfect. Cool. And
it's all like, it looks black and white, and it's like the manga in a way.
Yeah, it is. I was thinking about that more because you had mentioned it in our chat. For on one side, I was thinking because it's like devoid of color, like a coloring book, it needs to be filled in. Like how Tom
like the memory is lost. Right. Like there is no Who Am I because he doesn't know who he is and he's blank.
Exactly.
Yeah. Tabula rasa. Yeah.
Yeah. But then there's also the idea that in manga, typically all the pages are white. So if you do like a night sky, it's going to be like black stars, it's going to be black shooting stars, they don't color it in all black because that's going to waste ink. So they'll typically do this type
and there's
of thing.
One shooting star and like floating specks,
right, which can be both like I was saying, like I think it's kind of like stars, but it's also like dust. It's also like the what were they though, because I don't really know what to call them, like when they're in the stairwell, in the fire escape stairwell,
they're motes dust motes
I was saying because they tend to carry a bunch of things like seeds.
Dust motes, and like sometimes you see them like light shines through a window and you can see floating like bits. Those are called dust motes.
That is what this looks like. You're right. You're 100% right. And I was thinking they look kind of like the grass seeds as well that have been floating in the frames, like whenever we get the trailers and all that. So there's probably a few things symbolized in this, I would say. So then we get back to the episode after the intro.
Social media.
Hashtag
have we figured out who 1/4 is? It's definitely one of the F4, right?
I don't know. I don't remember. Melody had like a really good breakdown of all of the social media accounts. I did recognize at least one. It wasn't
1/4 was in there, and then
I recognize one from a different. They had like the cloud guy, the sky guy with the fan was back again in a different shot. This one I didn't recognize any of them from here, but I guess 1/4 is one of them.
I did like pray for Tom F4D12 with like
day 12.
Day 12. Like that was very specific, and everyone's still tweeting about it. Like, wow.
Yeah, that is very specific. It was a way to tell us, the audience, like how long he's been in a coma, which is fun. And then Gorya is making these little stars.
I have so much
you
to
freaked
say.
out in the group chat. Marie Claire was like, oh my god, I've made those before.
I've made them. No, I have. I've also made cranes. And so like obviously when you fold paper cranes and you do 1,000 of them, the sort of lore around them is that if you fold 1,000 cranes and you give it to somebody, it gives them a one wish. And so many people will do it for like, hey, I really appreciated you. Here's these 1,000 cranes. Right. And she's like, no, I wasn't feeling little birds. I'd rather do stars. But stars have a different meaning, and it's really cool.
Well, yeah. What's the meaning behind the stars then?
Okay. So this is like a myth from Japan.
Cool. Okay.
So there was a little girl named Hoshi, and she would look up at the sky and see all the stars, and she loved them, and she would lie in the grass at night and look up at them and just be so in awe of them.
Mm-hmm.
At night, one night, she saw a star fall out of heaven in a shower of light, And so she was like scared that there would be no more stars. And so she ran home and started to fold a star and put it in the glass jar, because then it felt like she was saving it.
Mm-hmm.
She was no longer sad whenever a falling star fell, because she would put it in the jar. She would fold one, and then she would ask. One night there was a huge meteor storm, and so she asked all the boys and girls in the village to help her, and they all made it. And that night they made 2,000 stars, and every child placed it in the jar, and it became sort of this symbol of the stars are lucky because of us, and now these paper stars will be called lucky stars. Luck is made every time a falling star is saved. That's the line. And her name Hoshi actually translates to star in Japanese.
Oh,
so
cool.
She is like, it's a Star Bride story, like weirdly.
Yeah, it is.
But why I'm obsessed with it, because it also has star meaning. And she's like, I'm going to make 1,000 stars, right? So they don't so if you make 10,000, it has like a meaning, but 999 stars means everlasting love to you.
Oh, interesting.
So,
well, the luck stuff is interesting too, right? Like, make your own luck, because luck, miracles are bigger luck, essentially. Like, it means that it's like
you
something
helped it along its way,
right?
And you made it.
Something bigger is also looking out for you, right? It's
and like Gorya is all about this sort of like, I'm gonna work hard and save the stars. Like, it's bizarre. I got mad at the show. I'm like, it's the last episode. I can't possibly get mad. I'm mad at you show again. Meteor shower, and she's saving all of the stars.
Yeah, I love that.
All of these fallen stars that needed to be saved. And she's saving all of them by wrapping them in paper and putting them in her jar.
I wonder how many she was able to make.
There's meaning for less, of course. Let me actually just go check. I looked it all up. So it looks like maybe she made about halfway through the 1,000 ones. So if it was 365, I wish you a whole year of blessing. And if it was 548, it was all your love to me endlessly.
Oh, so it's either love or it's luck. And I mean, that's kind of a big part of the episode. Luck, love, miracles, fairy tale ending. And
like the work she's willing to do to save these people around her.
Absolutely. Yep.
I'm mind blown.
That's so cool. I love that. It's so cool. Yeah. And then Tom wakes up while they're having this conversation about the stars, and Rin gets the phone call. And immediately something is wrong, which we all knew this was coming. And they go to the hospital to find that no one really knows exactly what's happening, because the family's not telling them. But Tom is woken up and something is wrong. He's not the same. And their shirts they're wearing, which we talked a little bit about Gawin's shirt, but I did want to call out that MJ's shirt actually has the Sacred Heart at the center.
Really? Like down below the sunflowers? Like in the middle? Oh my God.
Yeah, you can't tell in this shot. You can tell in a kind of a wider shot is where I was like, I think that's a Sacred Heart. But it wasn't until later, because he wears the same shirt when he's on the video call with Tom, but it's a different color. So it's like this is the black shirt. The other one's like a navy blue. It's the same shirt. It's exactly the same shirt. It's got the same pattern. It's just a different color. And it's like the Sacred Heart with the little stylized, but it does have like it's like bleeding in the corner, like Sacred Heart is, and then it has like a fire type of thing coming out of the top. And for those that don't know, the Sacred Heart is like it's a Christianity symbol for the most part, but it also comes from other things as well, and it symbolizes like the part of the crucifixion where Christ being sacrificed on the cross is like pierced through with the spear, and that's idolized in this image of a heart that is bleeding and is sometimes it's surrounded by a crown of thorns and sometimes it's not, and then almost all the time it's on fire, like it has fire behind it, and it also has usually will have like a cross on top of it. In mythology, the Sacred Heart is really interesting, and we've talked about this on like our Star Wars stuff, like in Mandalorian, but it also is like being pierced through, something breaking through your heart is being pierced through with love and with mercy and with essentially like feminine nature, with nurturance. Something has pierced through your exterior.
It has and I had to pull up some notes from a previous thing that I had ever recorded because I had some notes on this.
So I figured that when I was like, I'm gonna mention this and MC's gonna be like, yes, I love Sacred Heart stuff.
I love like I was raised Catholic, so this is like my jam. But why this is crazy. Now that I'm going off on this. Okay. The heart symbolism is about the sacred feminine power of love, because it comes from heart's blood, which heart's blood is, we've talked about blood. I didn't even put this together, so thank you for bringing this up. But heart's blood is like the blood of the mother that is descendant to the child, right? And the Sacred Heart is because he was born of a virgin birth, right? And because it is pierced, it is the symbolic like image of the love he had for the world as Jesus. Are we seriously getting Jesus metaphors in this? I know, I guess we are, right? And that we witness the redemption of the world, right? That is like, that was part of like the sacred mysteries, like him being stabbed through the heart by like the side, and like Longinus, right? Like that was the entire idea.
This is essentially symbolizing Tom's latest sacrifice. Like it Tom, is. Yeah, it's literally like a crucifixion of sorts, because it's not a life and death. It's not a death and rebirth that we got before with the Hale stuff. This is different. This is like he already is a god or a demigod, and like
it's the proof of his like love for mankind and those all around him. It's the proof of his love. That's right. And what, MJ, why are you wearing a Sacred Heart? Oh yeah, you're his knight. Oh damn it.
Because like MJ is there, and then we know this about MJ and Gawin. Even Gawin's shirt is kind of showing us something similar, even though it represents his love for Honey. It's representing love in general, and like his commitment to her, right? And Gorya talks about that later. Commitment. These are things that they've learned from Tom. So they're showing that, both of them, Gorya, because
their story,
they learned Goya's lessons through Tom, essentially. So yeah, it's super interesting that he has like this emblem. It's a very powerful symbol, and it's not something to be taken lightly, I think, especially with he's got flowers on his shoulders too. It's just all very weird.
And like
very weird.
Like the fire itself is like the holy passion, like the passion of Christ, and like so like it's the representation of like this light that you're bringing to the world. Like, oh, this show.
I know.
Can I say it? What is this show?
Like, what is this show?
What is this show?
That's nuts. All right. Whew. That was fun. So
yeah.
The doctors explain to Roselyn that they've done all they can do. He lost his memory because of this, and that, blah, blah, blah. But Tia is trying to comfort her mother like she typically does. And she's like, well, this could be a good time for us to restart something. Like, this could be a good thing for us. And we could, help him and heal him, is what she's actually meaning by this.
Yeah.
And all that Roselyn hears is restart.
Yeah.
Like, yes, this is exactly what we need to do.
Such a good line, because it's like, it's never too late for redemption, Mom. Like, you could restart your relationship. That's what she was saying to her. You could restart your relationship with Tom and actually give him like the love or like he deserves.
Deserves.
Like the thing he's always wanted. And she's like, no, I'm gonna use this because I'm gonna make him more brutal. It's like, oh, Roz, I think I said in the chat, like, she's the worst. Well, it's just she doesn't pick up on, she's too caught up. Like, that's the thing. Like, it's like people who haven't seen the light of the cultural and systemic problems we live in are like under this spell, and they keep on like doubling down, and she's one of those people.
Exactly. Yeah, she keeps doubling down. She goes to Tom and she's got the picture on her like tablet, and she shows him a picture of the F4, and he's like, yeah, I know these guys. She's like, well, what about this person? And they don't show the picture, but we all know who it is.
Yeah.
And Tia knows who it is.
She's
and
like,
Tom doesn't know who it is. Yeah. So she makes Tia go away because Tia realizes what she's doing. And Roselyn just lays into it more. She says, she's like, Tom, you want to be the leader of the Parma group, right? He's like, yes, mother. And she's
oh my God,
you'll do everything I will say to get that, right? And he says, yes, again. Yes, mother.
Yeah. Like, this is just like, of course he's saying yes to you. 14-year-old him, like, only wanted you to be proud of him.
Yeah,
like what we talk about later. Oh
yeah, 14, 15, like, I mean, God, yeah, of course he'll say yes.
Poor baby.
And he's so confused. Like, he knows what's going on in terms of like, he knows that he's missing all this time. So like this is a typical amnesia trope, is that the person that shows themselves that is the most concerned and caring about the person with amnesia first, that first person is the one they latch onto and is like, yes, like, teach me your ways, because otherwise I'm totally lost.
Yeah, and you're my mother. You want what's best for me, of course. Like, yeah. It's just like, it should have bothered him that Tia was like, no.
Yeah,
well, like,
totally.
Again, he doesn't know any better, right? Like,
yeah.
Oh, poor guy.
Yeah, and then, well, this is a really cool scene because Tom is being wheeled through the hallway. Again, like this high chair tyrant, right? He's totally regressed 4 years back. And I love that we've talked about regression so much in the show, and then we get like the most regression in this. Literally, like, the time is rewound. It's a time machine. Like, we talked about all that. That was the themes of the show is all coming full circle. But here I love this visual of Gorya bursting through all of the guards that are keeping her away from Tom, that are trying to keep her away. She's
powerful.
Yeah. And it looks like a flower blooming, the way that they all have their hands around her, and then she pushes through with her arms and then breaks it open. And it's like,
I love that.
It's like she's blooming through this powerful flower, powerful weed, whatever you want to call her now. And then of course Rin is right behind her and he catches the guy,
like, headlocks him. I love, like, I will read all of the F4 fan fiction where we get like way more scenes with like them doing cool stuff, or them doing, like, I'm okay with like Gorya and Tom, like Gorya and Tom have to be happy, but like if like Ren's got like the thing with Lita that we are like in our brains and we want to write or whatever, and like I want to like read more about Ren being I want MJ, I want Kavin and Gavin and Hanning, like I want all of them to have stories because I know that there's still more to explore with them, but I need Tom and Gorya to be like happy, except for like I have a few headcanons about how Tom's going to be in the future.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I agree. I want to write a Lita Ren fanfic, and Tom and Gorya are going to absolutely show up and be a part of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Ren protecting Gorya here is so cool. It's so hot. It's so
good.
Lancelot of him.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like exactly what we have been talking about this whole time.
Yep. It's just very clear now. It's really funny too, because then the next thing that happens is that she gets on her knees in front of Tom and she's like, "Are you okay, my king?" Like she's treating him, she's bowing herself to him like probably for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And because she doesn't know what's going on. She doesn't know that he's regressed. She doesn't understand what's going on. And this is the first time that she's actually like kind of bowed before him. And she truly, honestly cares. She hasn't seen him for a year. And then he pushes her away. It was just like, it's a good moment. It's a good angsty moment.
Yeah, and we get like the whole like stopping the treatment and like the deleting of the digital memories. Like she's like putting away this whole thing, and
Tia explains all this to her.
Yep. And like, oh, he's being locked away, you know. And you're being thrown away. And it really reminded me of like, although it is the amnesia plot is different. It plays out differently because there is this other femme character that's a threat to Gorya. This is the hunger strike.
Yeah, it's more in so effect. The hunger strike. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Like how it's playing out because he's locked away in the tower.
Yeah.
Right? And she has the rain scene outside.
Yeah, totally.
You know, it is the amnesia plot for the effect of like the character's rebirth, but entirely the hunger strike from everything else.
Yeah, totally.
It's like how sometimes they like separate out conversations. Like last episode we had the Ren Gorya moment, and we had the like it was like the bus scene, but it wasn't. Like it's like they got to the essence of what was required in both of these moments, because Gorya needs to prove herself, which is what the hunger strike does. She doesn't get to prove herself in the amnesia plot, but as much
because she does a little bit, like she has to fight for him and like try to make him remember.
But it's like she does it over time and with consistency,
right?
Whereas the hunger strike is like dramatic, and she's like, I'm proving something by standing in the rain and not leaving him and being there in solidarity.
Absolutely.
It does a different thing in this episode, but so good, these choices.
Yeah, they really hit both of the themes on the head really, really, really well. I love that the F4 are all talking now, like back in Gorya's safe space at the flower shop. And I love that the Uncle Ga is saying, you know, what about like how could he forget her? Like how could he forget Gorya? And they're like, that's not the worst part. The worst part is that Tom is gonna go back to how he was.
Yeah.
And he's like they're genuinely like, this is not good, because it's not just about remembering Gorya. It's like,
it's not good for the world.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All of these things that we've done, all of the struggles that we've been through, all the stuff that we've learned, like it's no longer with him. And that's a problem for everyone. And so they explain that, you know, everything about Gorya has been thrown away. Like you said, all this stuff has been deleted. Which it's funny, we never got proof that it was like any of the stuff was saved. But I mean, 100% my headcanon is that they saved this stuff. Like the maids would have not actually thrown out this stuff. They would have kept it. They would have saved it. Like, I don't know. That's my headcanon. Like, you cannot tell me that all this, like the Gorya museum got thrown.
No. I said if it did get thrown out, Tom sent crews to go get the garbage for the last like week.
Exactly.
And sift through, like he would have made that happen. The Gorya Museum exists somewhere.
Exactly. I agree.
Like that t-shirt is framed on a wall like people frame sports jerseys.
Yeah.
The towel has its own like framing with like the glass that doesn't allow like fading due to like sunlight and stuff like that. Like it's archival level glass.
I agree.
They're like,
it has
this
to be.
smells like garbage now, sir. And he's like, I don't care. Frame it. We'll leave it like in a wing somewhere until it stops smelling. Now hang it up on the wall.
Yep. Yeah, and they say like even like Auntie Yu doesn't have access to Tom, so she can't get in there and like affect anything. But again, Auntie Yu has access to the Gorya Museum, so yeah, the stuff was definitely saved. And Rin makes the comment like it's difficult to keep him out from the outside world so completely, but if anyone could do it, it's Roselyn. So just kind of like laying on the stakes of everything. And then Uncle Ga again says like what about Gorya? What about how she's feeling? How will she go on? And she yells over the balcony outside, again just showing us that she's not giving up. She's still herself. She's still strong. She's not like crying over here. That's not all.
Yeah, and like one of her internal powers is like stamina and like stick-to-itiveness.
Yeah. She's strong girl. And she's like, Tom, you jerk, how could you forget about me? And you had to yell at me and da da da. Like she's so funny. And then they all kind of calm her down and bring her back in. But we go to Tom and Roselyn.
Can I talk about his shirt?
Yes, please. Yes.
I did a Twitter thread on this because I was like, I love this shirt. It's Paisley.
It's
Paisley. Which comes from sort of the MENA area. Specifically, it's sort of between now Iran and Kashmir.
Right.
Where it was originally sort of came out of. It's around 2,000 years old. They estimate this sort of pattern. This is an embellished Paisley, so it's even more like dynamic and modern and things like that. But Paisley is sort of they believe it comes from like the look of cypress leaves, so cypress tree leaves, which cypress is associated with life and death and sort of like the psychopomp gateway between them, because they often adorn mourning sites and graveyards. And they're very common even nowadays in modern day graveyards. And so they figuratively lean towards this idea of mastering immortality, or like being able to be beyond and this world. So master of two worlds, like kind of concepts that we talked about in the hero's journey. And like being able to conquer like the fear, the existential fear of death, and live your life to the best way that you possibly can in the moment. And so because it's black and white, it's a decision he has to make. Roselyn is also in black and white, and she has a decision she has to make.
I also like the other symbolism of it. Like the word, I guess, in Persian for this pattern means flower buds.
Yeah, it means flower buds. It's also associated with flowers and tadpoles and growth and leaves and all of that, right? Like it always is associated with those things, but it also was commonly adorning royalty of the area.
And a lot of the time this print is in color. Yeah, so it goes back to that black and white, like the opening and it being,
like he has to be colored in.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And ideally though, like this decision point that he's in is how he's going to live the rest of his life. And if he's going to find that master of two worlds path, which means that the rules no longer apply to him and he can find his truth. And that's what we want for everybody.
Right.
That's what we want for like everybody in the world. They want to, you have to find your own journey. And this is what Tom is at. He's like in this crux, in this stuck place just at this moment to make this decision. He doesn't even know the decision is coming for him like a meteor.
No. Yeah, it's the whole what's Tom's happiness? What does he want? That's like a big question of this episode. Yeah, I love it. And he also sits in front of the window here. There's a couple of things going on with kind of this scene, but like one of them is that it kind of reflects, I think somebody in our group chat brought this up actually. It kind of reflects like the scene of when he's a kid and like Roselyn is like standing and he's like sitting, and because he kind of sits like a child here, like he's waiting for his mother's feedback. But what's also going on is that it mirrors kind of remember the Hana stuff where she was standing in front of the window in the hotel room
and you couldn't see her face very well,
right?
Because she was backlit. Yeah,
she was backlit, like she was Tom's shadow. Like Hana was looking at, like Tom was looking at his shadow, who was Hana, because of what she represented in that scene. Well, in this scene, got a lot of stuff going on because Tom, first of all, is a shadow of his true self, right?
Yeah,
because he's missing such a big part of himself. But also Roselyn is looking at him.
Right. Yeah.
Because Tom is like a shadow of her.
Yeah. And like the baggage that she needs to resolve.
Yeah.
She's never resolved.
Yeah.
Like her worst crime, i.e. never expressing love. She loved him, but expressing that love and allowing him to love in return.
Yeah,
is the thing that she, like how he had with Hana, like harming Hana as a kid. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, and this is that whole, we talked about it a little bit before in a previous episode about how like women who raise these like monsters, they're essentially raising baggage, and they're going to put that baggage on like the spouse of the person who's going to be with you know that person. And a lot of that actually goes on symbolically in Gorya and Roselyn's discussions. Like a lot of that is going on where Roselyn is almost like, I can give him to you. And she's like, wait a second. Like, like, wait a second. Like he could be better with you. Like, okay. Cause that is, it's just like, well, I guess we can save that for then. But yeah, she raised this monster of that's her. It's like herself. Like she put the things that she didn't like about herself, and she put that on her child. And those things, and like it's all that wrapped up in all that patriarchy and whatnot. But
like any of her weaknesses, she tried to drill out of Tom, right?
And that doesn't work.
It doesn't work that way. No, it doesn't. And
it
you
has
can't
the opposite effect.
And you can't have somebody live your life. Like you can't force your children to live the life that you always wanted. And it happens everywhere across the world. And that's where we get a lot of rebellion teenage stories again. But specifically this like will to dominate is this maternal sadism to try to make them strong enough to exist in the society that they think they exist in.
Exactly.
Right. And that comes to like the throwing away the pills and like because like this has been really bugging me a little bit, like of how to talk about this, because it feels so weird to be like, yeah, she obviously loved him if this was her reasons for doing these things. But
this isn't love in the way that we've talked about it.
Yeah, like you can care about your children and love them, but like we know, as an example, child like corporal punishment, so like spanking your children or hitting your children, causes like mental and emotional abuse in addition to physical abuse. Right? So you might think you're doing the right thing to like, I guess, get them to be a certain way, to like exist in society in a certain way, because that's what the societal rules are, but you're actually hurting them
right
more than you think you are. And
but
every hurts.
Every parent that tells you, you know, that, or every parent that has practiced that, or every person that is pro corporal punishment will say that, like, you know, I'm doing this because I love them, and I'm doing this because I care about them, and because and it's typically passed down. It's typically like, oh, well, I came
generational.
out great. Yeah. So why I'm going to treat my kids the same way because I came out fine or whatever, and without, you know, actually understanding the emotional damage.
And it's because like domination, like what she uses, what these parents use, like truthfully cannot exist with love. Like we think we love you, but and what ends up happening is you end up having two different sort of rules for your child, right? You love them, but yet you're also willing to hurt them, and you're not integrated as a person. It's hard stuff to talk about, because it's like, I realize that you love them, but you're hurting them so much that they're going to be dealing with this probably for the rest of their lives.
Yeah. And I guess like, I just, you know, it's just like with Lita, like people say, oh, but Lita's like this spoiled brat and I don't like her because like, okay, but you know, like I can understand it. Because that's all she knows. I feel like it's the same thing. I think it's like, but this is all that Roselyn knows, and she thinks she's doing a good thing, and I just have to sympathize with that. I have to, because I don't know, that's just that's this type of story, I mean, not only is it needed for her like redemption, to understand her redemption, to understand and empathize with her, but also in general, I think that the reason to have these types of characters is to try to understand them, like to try to understand where they're coming from. Like villains are purposeful, but villains are trying to teach us something, and if you can't empathize or sympathize and understand like why they do the things that they do, like just feel like it's not worth having a villain, you know? Well, don't have villains at all if you're not going to try to understand them. Like,
well, like part of this is an allegory for the rest of the world that we live in, and that we are all part of this system, and that if somebody has truthfully decided to change, like you can protect yourself from them, of course, like you don't have to spend time with them, but you have to cheer for them if they're choosing to make different decisions in their lives.
Exactly.
And you have to keep on making decisions. That's the hard part. You have to keep on making the right decisions, because you can revert, but you have to keep on trying.
Yeah, totally. All right.
Sorry, that was a little.
It was a long little aside, but it was worth it. It's important. So and I didn't mention here that Tom did say like he just wants to like go hang out with his friends, because he's really just like this 15-year-old kid, and then she says no, like absolutely not, because you have to isolate him in order to control him,
no pills,
right? Like no pills, he can't recover. She's absolutely desperate at this point, like she's
unhinged,
like, super unhinged. And then Tom is by himself, and we get a quick little glimpse of the rope blanket, the blanket rope, which I love the show, and I love parallels. They like, it goes all the way back to like the first episode where Gorya escaped the infirmary to get away from the bullies, to get away from the red card consequences, and now she's breaking in using the same tactic to the person who created the red card. like it just really just shows us like the full circle of all this. It just cracks me up. And
he's like the capture. He's like Rapunzel or something.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
he's
yeah,
the princess.
Reverse.
Yeah.
It's reverse Rapunzel. Like,
yeah,
it's so funny.
it's so
Oh my
good.
God. He really is. He is the princess that's trapped in the tower. And then the F4 have come up with this great plan.
Oh, I love the plan.
I love the plan. I was so happy to see this. This is an Ocean's 11 style break-in.
Yep.
Complete with blueprint of Tom's room, which I was like, yes, because like a few weeks ago we were trying to figure out Tom's room. And we were
too much symmetry for most people, I think.
Oh God. I like pretty much got it down, except for the fact that I think I missed that whole right side is actually the walk-in closet and it leads into the bathroom, as opposed to it being like one side's the bathroom, one side's the closet. I don't know. I'm taking all this in. I'm like still as if I'm gonna need it for the future. Like just I don't know why. But
I love that Gorya is the tea bottle cap.
Yeah, she's the pink cap.
Pink cap. And Tom is the king of chess, and he's in his bed.
Yep, he's in his bed.
And the two guards are two knights.
Yep.
Right? And the little pawns take out the knights.
Yes, the maids are the white pawn. And then this cracked me up. So they say there will only be you and Tom in that house, and the Tom piece is sitting on the bed, and they move the pink cap to the bed as well.
You got to make sure you remember he remembers you. Yep.
I should have marked on my because on my bingo card I had like Tom and Gorya in bed. That's it right
That's
there.
Close.
It's
That's
super close. Yeah, symbolically. I mean, I don't know, but close is what we're gonna get. But yeah, it's really funny that they're like, yes, Gorya, you belong here, and with Tom in his bed. Like,
yeah,
yes. Oh my Lord. So and then actually so what did you think about red being an orange?
I had no idea what was going on. I was like, okay, wait a second. Other than I can think that like orange is like directly opposites of blue. Yeah, and so it's like a weird version of him being a black knight.
I was kind of thinking along the same lines. I was like, because we've talked about him acting as a black knight, acting as a white knight, acting as a red knight potentially, right?
Yeah.
So him acting out of character helps them figure things out, right? Because otherwise Ren is a quiet character. He's someone who doesn't have all the answers. He doesn't have all the plans.
Like he's being super sociable and not drinking the tea. It's weird. It's weird. I was shocked at him being orange. I'm like, what?
Yeah,
but it's fine.
Weird.
It's fine. It's good there.
But yeah, I think for the most part
but you can see the full kitsune shirt.
Yeah, the kitsune that Gavin has on.
Yeah,
it's a great shirt.
I want a kitsune shirt, but they're like even the cheapest ones are like $200. I'm like,
you're like, I can't justify that.
The show has made me appreciate fashion.
I hear
and
that.
I can't afford any of it.
Yeah. Oh, I totally understand. As a K-pop fan, I mean, pretty sure I have you beat on that one because I scour the internet for like deals on the stuff that
the boys wear
in
BTS.
Yeah, totally. Oh, of course. But yeah, I love that they're really supportive of Gorya, and they're like, you just need to you just need to get into his room and you need to jog his memory. Like everything else is up to you. Like how you do everything after that, that's up to you. We'll get you there.
I love that they're in Ren's house. Like she's never been there before.
Oh,
and she's wearing white. She's wearing white. Like she's like, I'm the queen. Yeah.
Yep. And they all cheers with the tea.
Yeah.
We'll just pretend that that's like, some grand drink. Well, it is for F4 Thailand. I mean,
they are drinking her drink. She's making them drink her drink.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, because it's like the
normally
poor
they have
people's-
escola, like
Yeah,
ooh
it's
la
true.
la.
So true.
This is them drinking the schleb tea.
Yeah, it's the po people's tea, according to Tom.
I only drink fancy teas.
Yeah, I only drink oolong.
It's
So funny. But yeah, she sneaks in and she tries to show him the picture. She shows him.
we got to see the selfie finally.
Yeah, totally.
We're like, drop the selfie, and
They did.
Path is like, nah, I must save it. And we're like, fine.
Yeah, it's so funny because it's the first day they shot together.
Yeah.
So it actually has a lot of sentimental value to the whole of the show. Like the everyone that's worked on this. The fact that this is what comes up is like, this was the first day we shot together. Like, it's so cool. But she tries to convince him with all of these little things. Like,
did she make more cookies?
Yeah, that was really weird, right? Because he definitely threw those away before prom.
And it's been like over a year. So
yeah,
those are new cookies.
Yeah. She definitely like baked some more just to try to jog his memory. Did them the same way, put them in a similar box. I don't think it's the same box. I think it's different.
Yeah.
But yeah, she says like, Rin said that you wouldn't eat it. You also said you're more handsome than the cookies. Like, she got all this from Rin. She's like trying to use everything that she possibly can. She showed him the honey badger.
The honey badger.
And he's like, he like holds it like, what the hell is this? And I love it because I mean, we all knew this wasn't going to work because we had the image of the rain scene, and
my mother warned me about an imposter.
Yeah.
You're an imposter.
Yeah.
You made this all. You edited that photo. You made this all up.
Yep. And he shoves the cookies on her shoulder just like he did the phone back in the episode the Four Flowers, whenever he gives her the phone when the Rin stuff happens. So the same way. So that little monster peeking out kind of thing. And she
shoves her away. Yeah.
He pushes her, which is like the first time he's actually assaulted her. I think
because she's like fighting him and he just kind of pushes her away. Yeah.
Does he ever wait, hold on. Has he actually pushed her ever? Has he actually
No.
That's what I thought. I just had to wrap my head around
this is the only time that it's happened other than grabbing her shoulder through the fence. Later.
Yeah. But he hasn't done anything before. Nope. Yeah, that's what I thought. This was interesting. And then she kicks him.
Bothering.
Yeah, because he says brothering.
Yeah.
So she's like, no, it's bothering. Correcting him and kicking him.
Yeah.
Treating him like he is the regressed monster that he is, and gets on top of him.
He's like so shocked. Same face, hey? Like they're really damn bright.
Yeah, same face. It's brilliant.
When she's on top of him and like shaking him, and he's like, wait a second.
Yep. Yep. And he starts to have the flashbacks. And she does say, she's like, although I'm a loser, I really do love you. Yeah. I love that so much. And so he starts getting all those flashbacks. Why is this so familiar? And she kind of gets off of him and she gets to the side, like all of a sudden, like nurturing position, like,
yeah, let me help you. Yeah.
And he says, it's very important, but I can't see it. Like,
it's the shoe.
It's the shoe. It's important. I know it's important, but I can't see it. And he says, I see a girl. But she keeps trying. Hang in there a little longer. Can you remember? And that's when Roselyn comes in. And Clara in our group chat while we were watching it was like, this is the loudest, like, an amnesia, like when your memories start to come back in this trope. Like she was like saying, this is like the loudest version of that I've ever seen.
Like lots of yelling.
Lots of yelling. Because typically this is like more of a internal thing, but like you can tell his head is like hurting.
Yeah.
And it's like, I love it because it's like there's a battle going on in his mind of like the real Tom and like the past Tom. Like literally they're like battling it out in his mind and they hate each other.
Yep.
That's why it hurts so bad.
Sort of like that line from the original teaser trailer that we never got, which was like, I sort of hate you for making me this way. Like,
yeah,
like he has to, this is the big fight he has to have with himself over whether he wants to come back. And
it's the integration. It's really like, I mean, he's already been integrated in his journey, but when he loses that, he loses his ego, he loses his like who he actually is, he has to reintegrate it. And now he's got different stuff he has to deal with and different stuff he has to like sort out. And like integration is really painful, actually.
Yep.
Like it doesn't feel good to like say that I was this person.
Yeah.
You hate that person, but you have to like carry it with you. You have to recognize who that was.
He has to come to terms with the fact that like his mother made him this way. I think like that's what he's coming to terms with, that he can still love her even though like he became this monster.
Yeah.
Mommy's little monster is kind of the last stage that he has to integrate, because he tried to be completely different than someone who was connected with his mother previously, and that didn't work.
Absolutely.
He can't give her up.
Absolutely.
She's part of him.
I 100%. I think that's exactly what it is. It's the part of him that is her little monster. And I was talking about that earlier too, right? Like, because yeah, Roselyn created him, and yeah, he has to deal with that now. So interesting.
It's good. And I think his end outfit shows that.
Yes.
I think so.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, no, I really do. I've been thinking about his end outfit like all day, because I was like kind of obsessed with it while we were watching it. I was like, oh my God, what is going on with this outfit? But I have thoughts. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm glad. I'm tracking. I am tracking, and
you're with me on this journey of 100%. Clothing. Did I expect to become a clothing expert? No.
I love it.
Me and my t-shirt and jeans.
Oh, it's so cool. So Roselyn kicks out Gorya from the house, and there's a good moment where when she grabs her and she gives her this look like, you're hurting him. Like she looks at Gorya in the room like, how dare you like hurt him? Because again, she's starting to project onto Gorya, and I really, 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 really like this, because again, this gets in the whole like projecting onto the wife stuff.
And like, how do you deal with your own shadow until you project it out there?
Yes.
You can't.
Yes.
You have to have it out there so you can recognize it fully.
Yes.
Unfortunately, how she does it is really mean. This is why therapy is good, because you can project your shadow out in therapy in a safe, controlled environment instead of at the random girlfriend of your son or future wife, right? Like, and yeah, like mother-in-laws punish their daughter-in-laws a lot.
Yes.
Because of their mistakes that they made with their sons, leaning into making them little dominant monsters. They blame, like they're like, oh no, my sweet little angel. Yeah. This must be your fault. Everything I don't like about this relationship is your fault.
Absolutely. Yep.
Gorya, or daughter-in-law.
Yeah. Yeah. Because they are, symbolically already married. So yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, so she's starting to project things onto Gorya. She's like, you're the one hurting him. And Gorya, they drag her out of that house, and Gorya's like, excuse me, you're the one that's hurting him. you're not gonna let him have treatment. You know, she starts going off and she's like, admit it, you never loved Tom. He's a doll, he's not your blood.
Heart's blood stuff.
Yep. And she says, I feel so sorry for Tom having a selfish person as a mother like you, I think is what selfish person like you as a mother. And that's when Roselyn slaps her.
Oh God. I was like, oh, she went straight for the violence just to escalate the whole point of this entire show.
Yep.
That has been that she is willing to be violent, like fundamental, like slapping is one of those things.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's because she thinks she's doing the right thing.
Yeah, she does. She and people called out, like, I think you called it out as well, like her earrings are vines.
Her earrings are vines.
Yeah, like she's already like starting to grow.
She's already starting to grow. I love this so much. And like
what's funny though is I actually saw them initially as more like raindrops. So I didn't even think about vines until like I saw somebody else's tweet and then like one of your notes, I think, and I was like, oh, I guess it is kind of like vines. But you know, again, double symbolism happens a lot in this show, so it could also be the rain because we know that comes up later. But Gorya does have a realization there, and Roselyn says something like, how would you know, like basically throws it back at her, like, you know nothing, you're not a mom, like, you don't have a kid, how could you know how I feel? How dare you tell me how I feel? Like, that's all of that.
This enables Gorya to be like, well, I guess I'll have to think about that for a moment in the rain.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good. And then she tells everybody, shut the gate. That's the idea of the gate. I mean, like, you know, we have that symbolism in previous parts of the show, but it doesn't refer to like this big opulent gate that's like guarding the prince.
Did the gate make you feel like semi gates of heaven? Like,
oh yeah, like Mount Olympus, like in Hercules, like they had it in like the cartoon Hercules. They had like
this
a gate.
Is so recognizable as like a yes, and like this moment sort of like it does tie back to Psyche and Cupid a little bit, like this whole like arc of this episode, just Roselyn sending her to the underworld, expecting her to be like, no, you're officially gone. And then her keeping on coming back. Right? Like it just feels like
it's a trial. It's a trial of sorts. And the fact that Roselyn comes to meet her proves to us that it is a trial. Like she does what Roselyn needs her to do to prove something. She
comes back, which is like, please explain to me your insanity.
And and the F4 are also like, what the heck is Gorya doing? Like, what is she trying to prove? What is she doing? And you know, Rin says, you'll see. That's how he responds to that. Like, what is Gorya doing? Why is she standing on the rain?
He like, was he always like prophecy dude? Like,
yes.
I know. It just like, it becomes so clear at the end. That's all.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm sorry. I'm like, oh my God, yes. Because like, like
he was always the most observant. He could always see like and this is such a change.
Okay.
From
sorry.
Like,
go ahead.
Hana Yori Dango and all really of the other versions.
If we go back to the
the guy.
No, he's not. It's not the same character. This is a totally different character. If we go back to the very first episode, Rin is when they're in the stadium.
Yeah.
And Gorya is like watching all this stuff go down. Rin turns around and he looks right at her. Remember that?
Yeah.
Like he looks at her and like they kind of have this moment, but she's not attracted to him necessarily in that moment. She's like upset.
Well, it's later when she's thinking about him, she's like, oh, maybe he's different.
Right.
And that's how it's used. But it's also used as wait a second, you're interesting, you're something, I don't know what it is yet. And then we have the moment on the roof where he recognizes her, and like suddenly she's like in the attention of these godlike figures.
Yeah. But he whipped around and he saw her, like he picked her out of the crowd in the stadium. And like that's the beginning of Sage Ren. Like that's the beginning of the seer, of the weaver. Like he's like a very weird character. Like he gets things that other characters don't get. It's so strange.
It's not Ryu.
No. Not at all.
Yeah, I just like, or Lei, like,
no,
these characters just like, they care, but they don't see things. They don't even notice things.
Rain comes.
Rain.
Tia is watching, and she does the little fist clench just like Gorya does in the earlier episodes, which I thought was interesting. And then
Rain symbolizes memories and powerful emotions and cleansing, right? So this is like all leading us up to this final trial, right? It's a storm, and storms themselves are like something big is about to happen. A world shifting change.
Exactly. It's been a consistent symbol in the show. So Tom is like getting checked up on by the doctor. I guess they're continuing some kind of treatment, but they're not like, I guess they're just making sure that he's like, his vitals are good.
Yeah. Like, did you have a heart attack with your girlfriend? Oh, we weren't supposed to say that name. Or that word.
Exactly.
Climbed up and assaulted you with memories.
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of like Roselyn cares. Like Roselyn is worried about him, but she's like checking to make sure he's okay, because this is her. Yeah, this is the only thing she knows. Like it's so interesting. But then we get this amazing shot, which I love, where Roselyn is looking out the window, and she's got like Tia's talking to her also in the background, but they fade through Roselyn's reflection to Gorya. And it's like we've talked about like reflections and like the glass mask, that's like another symbol in the show, and mirrors and reflections and whatnot. Like, but we were just talking about how Roselyn's starting to project onto Gorya, and it shows this in her reflection in the window, which is facing out to Gorya. And Tia is like pleading with her, like, you can't do this, like, don't like, and she says other things here as well that we get a little bit more later. But essentially she's saying like, you're the same, like Gorya and you are the same. And she says that a little bit later too, but that reflection is showing us that as well.
Yeah. You love him. She loves him.
Yep.
Can't you find common ground?
Yeah. You both will fight till the end. Like this this has to end somehow. Like you both are going to continue this. So Roselyn is the one who caves. This is so interesting. God, this is so interesting.
So good.
Yeah. She goes to Gorya. She goes to Gorya's level to play Gorya's game, right?
Yeah. Gorya brought her out of her castle.
Yeah.
To the very gates. Can we talk about the umbrella?
Yeah. The rose umbrella.
It's black on the outside. It's roses on the inside. The symbolism is pretty darn clear that Roselyn thinks that she is protecting Tom.
And
she's also unintentionally protecting him from emotions.
Yeah.
From love.
Like the rain.
Because the rain is strong emotions. The storm is healing and renewal.
Yeah.
Right? And the fact that it's literally like Tom on the inside and the curse on the outside shows us how she's doing it. we've talked about umbrella symbolism before, but it's important what the medium is that you're protecting or using the umbrella in, right? And this is very, very, very specific.
Yeah,
right?
Definitely.
I cannot believe they got a rose inside an umbrella. Like I'm literally like, what now?
Yeah, it's so cool. It's so cool. Again, like the
You
kinds
did
of things
what?
they did for the show, just like, all right, okay.
I guess you really had, like, I'm like, was this the plan from the beginning? Did you just have so much extra time because you kept on having to pause because of COVID?
Yeah.
Like, how did this show get made? I have so many questions.
Yeah.
Parby.
Yeah. Reach out. We would love to interview you. Oh, it's so nuts. So she says, I'm not caving, even though just by going out there.
Yeah.
She is.
She made a concession.
Yeah.
This is a negotiation. She already came to the table first.
Yeah. And I love that it parallels. So well, because Gorya says, I just want to talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same beat that we got in the chessboard where Gorya goes to Roselyn to play her game, and Roselyn says, I just wanted to talk to you. This was the only way I could get you here, right?
Yeah, and so Gorya has reversed it. This is the only way I could get you here, by really doing something so ridiculous and stupid, like standing out inside the rain. But I'm tougher than you think, and I'm literally rain like grows me, so because I'm plant.
Yeah.
This is nothing. Like what, like Tom spends like 30 seconds in the rain and he gets sick, and she's been there
that's
hours.
so true. Oh god. Yeah, I was like, really? Is he sick really from that?
But I love this so much. It's so good because like Gorya got it, she understood, and she understood that you can't yell at somebody into changing. You have to understand how they think about the world and come to them from their like logic.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Because people don't think that they're doing bad things when they're doing bad things. They always have reasons. They always have their own logic in their head about why they're doing the things that might be hurting those around them.
Yeah, she justified her actions over many years. Like she's had a long time to justify her actions, and the more you tell yourself the same thing over and over again, the more you're gonna believe it, like even if it's wrong. So but yeah, so Gorya says, like, tells her realization and all that, and then we go back to the kind of,
you love him.
You love him. And then Tia again through the door saying, like, there's no difference between you and Gorya. Open your heart. That's important. And then Gorya has this big thing about, like, what does Tom want? Like, have you ever asked Tom what he wants? Have you ever wondered what he wants? And they talk about the hot pot. They talk about the family dinners. They talk about, all this that stuff that Tom has experienced that Roselyn has not, and Roselyn hasn't given Tom. And Gorya's like, he loved this. Like, that's who he really is.
The bear picture with him smiling at Gorya. And like him having a genuine smile, and like, so happiness is what Gorya talks about. And I think that also Tia is like, you want him to be happy,
right,
as well. And it's like, so like this all comes down to like, what is the point of living?
It does. Well, and a lot of this, like,
you want to find happiness, you want to live in a way that makes you happy, you want to seek joy,
right?
And
Roselyn thinks
be
that
happy.
Right. And Roselyn thinks that like what will bring Tom happiness is the same thing that she's been working for this whole time, because otherwise
what's been the point?
Yeah, exactly. It's been a waste.
Yeah.
We get a like really good flashback here of her thinking about that. It's the same shot as that we saw, you know, from Tom's perspective of him as a child. And I didn't capture it here, but because there's a lot going on here, but there is the flashback. It's the same flashback when Tom closed the stadium. And when he's a kid sitting on the couch and Roselyn's like going through the stuff with him, like teaching him how to be king. And that time it was in black and white because it was from Tom's perspective. This time it's the same shot, but it's in color, which just kind of tells us that it's from Roselyn's perspective, essentially. And so she's thinking about baby Tom. Like she's thinking about, you know, that reset idea, that the idea of like going back in time. Like, what if you could do it over again? And the teddy bear picture is kind of that big thing of, like,
yeah,
he's just a little boy.
Yeah. And this is so interesting too, because like in the manga,
the teddy bear,
it's the bunny.
Oh, it's a bunny. That's right. Yeah.
Like he had this bunny and then she kept on taking the bunny away, and like the housekeeper or the main house like person,
right, Auntie You
in the manga, the Auntie You character,
the Auntie You character
kept on bringing back this bunny to comfort him because he would cry at night because his mom was never there.
Oh,
and like I was like, there's such an interesting thing that they kept the bear in this shot, like because the bunny is like so important in the Amnesia plot.
Well, and he it's just having her recognize that he has
still a little boy.
He's just a little boy. And like, even like, she never treated him like a little boy. He never got that. He never got to live as like a child. And here he is, like, we talked about the importance of play and the importance of like being silly and doing childlike things and childlike wonder and curiosity. Like Tom has had that for Gorya's life. Like he has had that childlike wonder for her life. And like brother talks about that, like at the train station, you know, like, oh, if Tom was here, he would be so excited about everything. Like, but Roselyn hasn't seen that side of him. So when she sees the picture, it's like, who is this person?
Yeah. Like a completely different person when he's with you.
He's just a little boy. He's not her king. He's her baby. And it's kind of like this realization there. It's so sad.
And don't you want to see him smile?
Don't you want to see him smile? That's right. And that's what introduces us to.
And I really love this like concept, because it's like pointing out like, love is not just a feeling, it's how you act with that feeling. And like the Beauty and the Beast resolution and the breaking of the curse is not just to love. It's to be loved in return. So you have to love and also accept love. And she never accepted his love and showed that she loved him.
Right.
And you have to act. You have to show those around you that you love them.
Right. And I think that's what Gorya says here, right? Is like, you can give him love. And he wants to, I think at one point she also says like, he just wants to prove his love to you. That's why he's doing what he's doing. And she's teaching that to her.
It was like she talked about how like, I'm doing everything that's best for him, and like, and this is what he wants. Like, well, that's the only way he knows how to like show you that he loves you, is by doing what you want him to do.
Exactly. So Gorya is teaching her in that moment, you have to love him, but you also have to accept his love. Cool stuff.
It's very cool.
Everything is purposeful.
And then we have him show up at the end is like, my smile, I don't smile. He's like in
I'm
full
a monster,
like beast reversion mode. Like he looks like he almost looks exactly like how she left him in the rain.
Oh yeah.
You know, like that was what struck me, was like just how he looks like after he reverted in the rain breakup. Because she had to face that. She hasn't had a chance to
like atone for that.
For that. Yeah. And this is kind of her atonement for that.
It is.
Yeah. Like, because he's like, his hair is curly again. He's kind of like, he's not wearing the same shirt, but it's kind of like a black and white, you know, it's got pattern and it looks very similar.
It's similar.
And he's drenched and he's just like, I'm the monster again. Yeah.
He is. He's full monster mode and we love it. We like to see it. But he's like, me? I'm Akira Parama, how do we say his last name? But he's like, I don't want what you were saying. I want to be at the top. I want to be powerful. I want to have all the power.
To dominate.
Yeah.
I want to live in the world of domination, not love. I want to rule through violence.
Yeah.
And I love how the gate basically kind of is like a cage that's keeping him in, and he like grabs her, and it's like, and then like I was like, kiss, no, oh okay, sorry. Like I shouldn't be thinking those words at the, no, whatever, it's hot.
It's so hot, like I think everyone that I in circles with wanted them to kiss here. Like even I think Two's friends were tagging her and saying like that they thought they were gonna kiss here. Like
so it's just a very intense look. That's very intense hot.
Look. Yes.
But is this the way you look at someone you love, full of fear? It's like, oh dude.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good. But everyone knows me doesn't dare talk back. Like full regression. And then he's like, girlfriend, and the way he says it is just like amazing. Yeah. Is this the way you look at someone you love, with fear, and pushes her away?
Go back where you came from, which again is the line that she used in him in the rain. So this is again like her, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like feeling how it feels, right?
Feeling
like
how it feels. Yeah. Because she told him in the kind of the first breakup ish, like go back to your world, with, like Lita and stuff. And now she's screaming at him, come back. Like come back to where we were building our own world, kind of thing. And like, and then he's like, go back to where you came from. It's just it's so poetic. It's so good. And I think in that moment, she's like, even if my tears, if my screaming, if everything is not getting to him, if I'm locked out, like I've done all I can do, at least today.
I had a question for you. When did she lose the necklace? Was it when he grabbed her? Was it when the guards were pulling her out and it was just on the ground?
Yeah, I think it was when the guards were pulling her out. And I think like that's why that scene looks so aggressive. Like they do a lot of like it feels very fast and very aggressive.
I mean it's on that side of the gate. Like she left her star badge on that side of the gate. You know?
Yeah.
I did notice. I was like, she's not wearing her necklace. What happened? And but I didn't say anything in their group chat. But yes,
you're like, I did notice though. I didn't notice, and so I was really happy. But
she's like, I love you.
Yeah, she says I love you. I like basically wishes him luck. Like is like, yeah, I'm done. I'm done fighting right now. And
it's rainy. I'm cold.
You're mean.
Yeah, you're being mean. I don't want to be around you, and that's totally fair.
Yeah.
To me, this is like Psyche failing on her journey.
Yeah.
Back from the underworld and like opening up the box that contains sleep. Like she just like cannot do it. So she needs Cupid or Eros to finally be healed on his own with his mother to come back and like meet up with her. Like that's
Because this is not a story just about singular heroes. This is a story about two lovers, two partners, and the love and other people as well. I'm
totally gonna be like, and the video you're gonna make on these lovers being together is gonna be amazing.
I'm excited.
So looking forward to it. No, because like that's part of the importance of this story is that like their stories are intertwined so much that you can't have one without the other.
Exactly. They bounce off of each other, and it's
like
a lot of people were like, oh, Gorya's giving up. It's like, no, this is important for, like, she did what she can. Now Tom has to do what he needs to do, and she believes in him. Like, she's not giving up on him internally. Like, she's walking away because she's done everything that she can possibly do. So I mean, like, sure, maybe in another story she would climb the gate, jump on him again, and like really not give up like that, right? But
there would still be other angles. Like eventually Tom would want to reconnect with F4 and all sorts of stuff. Like, but
that's in the like manga. It takes a long time.
Yeah.
Like she's out like living her own life and kind of just waiting for him to come back to her.
Yeah.
But in this one, I think the not waiting anymore is actually like powerful, because it's like, I'm not going to stand here and wait for you any longer. Like
you need to get your, poo together.
Yeah, exactly.
Poop in a group. You need to do it on your own. Like, no.
Yes.
No, seriously. Like,
yes.
That's also like important. And there's a few choices in this show that I really do think are because they have updated the story. And this is like one of them.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, there's some other ones too, like that are closer in the denouement, but yeah. Oh, but his hand shaking.
Yes, I love that part so much. Like, I think all of us in our group chat we're like, rain, like maybe this is it. Like maybe this is what triggers the memories.
And the lightning flashes as he looks at his hands. And I was like, oh my God, the gods are making something happen. Okay, so thunderstorms.
Ooh, okay, fun.
Okay. Are specifically renewal through destruction symbolism.
Oh, yes.
Right?
I have read
so
this before,
rain, right? Renewal.
Rain's like cleansing. It's more peaceful.
But the lightning is like there's destruction happening.
Yes.
And so he is being completely torn down in this moment. He doesn't understand why. And just like how you said, like, you latch onto the first thing that you wake up to when you've like woken up after having amnesia. It wasn't his mom. He sees the necklace.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, totally. He sees it. It has a powerful effect.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I also wanted to bring up because like, the rain symbolism and all of that, like after a rainstorm or after a thunderstorm or whatever, flowers perk up, and like
grass grows.
They've been watered.
Yeah, they've been watered.
And we can also see the stars when the rain has stopped.
Yeah.
And that's what Roselyn does, is she looks up at the sky and she sees a sky full of stars, and that's when the meteor shower starts.
She actually catches the rain in her hand ever so briefly.
Yeah.
And like that's where she's like fully healed. She sees Gorya, she sees Tom, she sees all of this and the healing rain, and then it stops right after. She just had to have a little tiny bit.
Yeah, for herself. For
herself.
Her own journey. Yeah,
her own journey.
Oh.
And then
she
asks, like, we see the meteors starting to flash, right?
Yes. I love, she kind of looks at the sky asking for something.
Yep.
Like that's written all over her expression.
She actually do you have it in the next slide? But she asks, do you believe in miracles?
Yeah, that comes after he finds the necklace. So we go to like the F3 are in Ren's place, and Gawin says, guys, do you believe in making a wish on falling stars? And Ren says, I do.
But I believe in people more.
It's so good because again, like miracles, like we create our own miracles, we create our own luck. Like that's not just the universe. Like we act in the universe. We are the universe.
Yeah.
People are the universe.
We're not different from the universe. We are part of it, and
exactly.
thus we can make our own luck. And back to that shooting star mythos from Japan and capturing the stars.
Yeah.
We make these
we
lucky.
Make it. Yeah.
Yeah. We make these lucky stars.
I'm so glad you found that little story because that's exactly what's going on here. But
he finds the necklace.
He finds the
like,
necklace.
Why does this name why does it have my name on it? Why is this something I totally would have designed myself? What is this thing?
Yeah. It starts making sense. And he sees the memory that's attached to the necklace. And there's also a brief little shot that we get that I didn't quite capture. Oh no, it is captured here. It's after she says what she says. So she says, like, ask her secretary, do you believe in miracles?
Open the gate.
Mm-hmm. And then Tom flashes to this memory of Gorya, which we had only seen in the second trailer. Fun fact. The Tom vision of Gorya with the necklace in front of her.
We hadn't seen that. Yeah.
No, it was just in the second trailer. Like
I had gone stuff that like we never really got to see. Like we saw some of the shots in like the denouement. Like they kept these. There's probably tons of behind the scenes.
I was gonna say there's probably so because they're still editing it to the last minute, so they probably had so much footage. And this is even a different shot. It's like slightly earlier than the one we got in the second trailer. So yeah, they have a lot of footage they're holding on to. But yeah, that's when Tom runs out of the gate, and Roselyn has that look on her face, like she's relieved, and she's tearing up again, like she's got the tears in her eyes. Yay, Roselyn, redemption.
Roselyn redemption. Success. We knew it was going to happen.
Yeah.
Right?
It was just a matter of how.
We hear this massive play of Shooting Star.
Yes.
In the background.
And it's so good. She seems very relieved. She's like released from the curse, which I really like.
Yeah, she feels like, and that's how you feel. Like the weight is off of you. Like I don't have to be a jerk anymore. Oh my God. Like, you're telling me there's another. I think it was like poor little Gorya on Twitter said like in between the weeks, it's like Gorya's like, you know, you can be nice and like be deserving of love or something like that. And Tom's like, wait, go on. Like,
I did see that tweet. That was that so
realization, funny. Like you can live another way. Like that's an option.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's exactly what Roselyn is experiencing.
Yeah. And we knew it was gonna happen. We knew. And I'm so proud of them for doing this story because everyone is deserving to be healed.
Yep.
And be better and love others and have compassion for others and exist in a more whole way.
Yeah, totally. Yep. And Tom runs to her and it's not full yet. Like he's not fully like realized everything. He hasn't remembered everything yet, but he knows something's important. So he runs after it. And I love it because like that shows us that what is so essential to Tom, which is his impulsiveness.
Yeah.
Like that's been a part of him like all the time. I love that so much. It shows
like he didn't even know that he really wanted Gorya when she kicked him.
Yeah.
But he wanted to be around her more. And so
he kidnapped her. Yeah.
Came up with an excuse. Like that is him. Like
exactly.
He could have just gone and kidnapped her again. Like that. Who knows? No, he wanted answers because he's like, wait a second. How did you do this to me? What
exactly?
Witchcraft.
Yes. Witchcraft. And that's how he treats her. Yeah. Your womanly ways. What did you do? You stop.
You stop.
Yep.
Lady.
And he's like, that, like, she says, you know, well, we were together. That's why you have that memory of the necklace.
How did you make me do this?
Yeah. It didn't make you. And he's like, I've never had a girlfriend before. I haven't even kissed a girl before. And by the way, that's where we get our first puppy sound of the episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because
animal noises. Yeah.
Animal noises.
On your bingo. We heard it.
Yep. He's like, I've never kissed anyone. And then you hear the puppy whimper because she's like, wait, we did kiss. But he starts to show signs that he's like sick for being out in the rain for a second. Princess of the
hot
pea.
minute.
He's the princess of the pea. But
he's just like, it's so funny because like in some ways, like he's indefatigable, like he can be beaten up endlessly, but like you sprinkle him with water in the wrong way and he's like like
exactly
right, like that's part of his character in all of the versions, is that like he gets sick with the rain so easily but can be beaten up endlessly.
Yep, that's so true. That's very true.
Take your medicine.
Yep. Take your medicine. Yeah,
that's a metaphor for something.
There were so many things here that I was like, I wish that he actually would have taken it. He doesn't take it. And like, I was like, I kept theorizing that she would feed him something, like not to get his memory back, but as more of a symbolic, like, gift of the goddess type of thing.
Yep.
So when she got
she might have given it to him and they just had to cut it for time, because he might have taken it like when he was actually in her lap.
Yeah, very true, very true. Yeah, this regardless, they decided to bring that up again, which, like you said, also has other meanings as well.
Yeah. Different meanings.
But so she tries to do that, and that's jogs more memories for him. He sees the fact that she's done this before. They have the same conversation about prescribed medications.
You've attacked me. How dare you?
Yeah, he remembers her
all the violence.
Yep, several times. And she's like, you know,
why are there so many times?
I love this so much that. So he gets into her lap in the same way as happened in the stairwell. And then he says so many stupid stories. And he's like, why are there so many stories? Like, how, like, you've got too many stories. And she says, of course there are so many. Like,
yeah. Like, we're important to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. I loved this so much.
I love this scene. It's great.
I wrote cry in my notes because I did get misty during this show, this moment.
Aww.
Like I did, but it's really hard for me to cry.
Well, and this was very slow. Like, this was good. Yeah. They did this really well.
They gave it time.
We were talking about how, you know, this is a fairy tale, and therefore the amnesia can be solved with just a kiss or just you know, just anything. It could have just been solved in like one instance, but they decided to do this slow and painful, like, process of integration. It's very purposeful, and yeah, it takes time away from maybe some cuter moments, but it also reminds us the whole of the journey and
showing us the kiss is like the kiss happening again for him. So it is sort of like the healing fairy tale kiss. Like,
that is what, that is the final memory
thing. Yeah. Because he's like, I've been in your lap. She's like, in the stairwell. And he's like, no, on my couch. And then the kiss. And it's like the kiss is the fairy tale, like, magic spell is broken thing. And because we got it in that moment, like, his memory, he's reintegrated fully.
And he's also in the lap of the goddess
again.
He was in her lap when he was in the belly of the whale, part of his journey, which is like meeting a goddess. He was in her lap during the kiss, and that was in the part where
thresholds.
He doesn't want to leave the lap of the goddess. And now he's in her lap, and
on his way to being the master of two worlds.
Yeah. Like
good stuff.
You already have the elixir. You just need to take it to everyone else. And
he immediately leaves to do that after this.
Yeah. I think there's a couple more things, but
well, I mean, like he like literally is filled with all of this energy to like, I must do this, and doesn't even stay with her to like, he leaves. Like,
he leaves. Yeah. And she's, because
you're back.
That it was in your lap on the couch, and then that flashes to everything else. You gave me my first kiss,
and I hurt you again.
Yep, that's what he slaps himself in his face.
Yeah,
and she's like, "What's wrong?" And it's, I hurt you again. And
he's so upset at himself.
He's so upset. Like, this is so interesting because, again, integrating the monster back into himself,
he has to accept all of his things he's done.
Yeah. Everything.
And she loves him.
Yeah.
This whole human.
So good. It's so good. And he cries again. Cry baby, don't cry again. He cried like last episode with MJ, like allowing him to cry is telling us that, again, the teasing is a part of it. Like, it's fine to cry. Like, she's allowing him to lay there and
it's sort of a way of saying like, it'll be okay.
Yep.
Like, I'm here for you. It's just like a weird thing that they say don't cry, and like we're like, but it's okay to cry, but nobody's stopping him from crying if he wants to.
It's tender, it's nurturing, it's loving, it's comforting. Oh, it's so good. And then
oh god, I died with this social media post.
Okay,
look at the stars over her head.
Like, she's my star now. Look at her. It's so cute. It's so cute.
And you see all like the ship names, right? And poor little Gorya on Twitter was like, imagine Tom like reading the Twitter posts afterwards and fighting people on Twitter because keeps saying their ship name is GoryaThyme, and then like some random fan like, congratulations Time Gorya, and like it is a millionth follower account. What the hell did you just say?
It's GoryaThyme, not Tom Gorya.
It says on the necklace it's GoryaThyme. That's the way it is. And like, it's just so funny like how specific people like get in relationships. Like, my husband refuses to call me anything but Marie Claire.
Really?
Yeah.
It's funny.
And like I was like, now this is canon. Like, he would literally be on Twitter.
Yeah.
Like being like, no, trend GoryaThyme.
Yeah. Absolutely. He would be very upset for sure. Because
it's just
go ahead.
No, I love it. It's so like, that is so him.
Yeah, it is. It's cute. Like, she's tired. They're both sick. Like, they're both exhausted. Like, they've both been fighting for each other now. Like, essentially, symbolically, they've both been fighting for each other, and now they can finally rest. And Tom,
what is his name? His name is Pig Boo.
I have no idea.
It's like
some kind
Pig
of
Boo Boo.
Peekaboo. Yeah,
that's his name.
That's funny. But yeah, like, now they can finally rest, and Tom is allowing Gorya to like rest on him because like he knows that she's been fighting for more than what she ever has for him. And but at the same time, he wants to tell the world that they're back together.
And she's doing something that like we talked about for so long, like since they like lived next to each other, leaning on him.
Oh my god, you're right.
Yeah, this gets me right. The feels. Oh no.
Oh, there it is.
That's that's what we wanted all this time, was for
There
her
it
to
is.
trust him and lean on him.
Yep. It's very good.
So this is the moment that she is beyond duality, truthfully.
Yeah.
Because she is beyond being separate from him.
Yeah. Again, like, individual journey is important, but this is how these two are bouncing off of each other. And it's more important. This is a love story first and foremost. And the heroine's journey and the hero's journey and the heroine's journey come in many different formats. But when it comes to being a love story, you know, your individual journey is shows through the love story. Like,
yeah.
Tom is these certain parts of herself that she's integrated into herself, and vice versa for Tom and her. So when they finally decide to be together, it represents symbolically
like
what's happening inside of themselves as individuals.
Exactly. And we've talked about like the elixir being like this like thing that Tom is going to be bringing to the masses. And it's literally like have you heard the good word of Gorya?
Yeah.
Right. And Gorya is like I got a guy who's willing to like support me as her outcome, so I can continue to like shine bright.
Yeah.
And inspire others and grow the garden, right?
Yeah.
And that's what we have as these outcomes. Like, I'm not saying that like what Tom has is entirely as his. No, it's the shooting star message. It is the moral of the story, which is like loving others and being loved in return.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, and the entire kingdom celebrates this. Like, the entire kingdom is like rejoicing. Everyone got the message.
Glacko is in green and the dad is in red and being hugged by the flower shirted mom. I can't with this show.
Yeah, they never miss an opportunity to be super symbolic. It's so good.
Is there a symbolic choice? We will make it.
Yeah, totally.
Like,
totally.
Just these show.
It's so
and
good.
They're in there and he's looking up at the sky and there's grass in front of them.
Yeah, it does that thing. It kind of refocuses so that they're blurry, and then what's in the forefront of the frame is those grass like
stalks.
I don't know what to call them. Yeah, the grass stalks, which are in like the opening, the traditional opening for the show that symbolize Gorya. Those are the seeds at the very top that get blown off and go create other grass. So yeah, it's really, really cool that that's kind of just blooming there. It's a very peaceful moment. And then we go to a year later.
We hear the
same.
The moral. Yeah. Have you ever thought about how an ordinary teens like us can make a difference again?
Yep. Same line, second time. And Gorya says that her life is so-called back to normal, which cracks me up because, I feel like I don't want to say this is a missed opportunity. I just want to say that, we got to read between the lines here. They did not explicitly say this, and where most of the show is like all text. But no, Gorya's life is not back to normal. It will never be back to normal. In fact, like, she even says it's kind of chaotic sometimes, but like mostly it's back to normal. And I'm like, no, you just have the tools now to deal with this stuff. Like, you're better equipped to deal with the people in your life now. All the new people that you've met, the F3 are still in her life. They're still there. They probably still bring problems. They still bring annoyances. She's got all these people living under one roof now.
Yeah.
In the meteor garden. Like, she's got a whole new set of
challenges.
Things. Yeah.
But she has somebody she can lean on, even virtually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's better equipped to deal with these things because of her acceptance of Tom as like her partner. So so good. And she's probably learned to ask for help too. That's another thing, right? She's probably learned to ask for time to herself and whatnot.
Like there's something strategic about like what happens later when like she can't drive herself to school or pick herself up. Like probably getting regular F3 check-ins. So even if she doesn't say anything, they're like, actually, she's not doing well today. So
yeah, definitely. They're relaying things. Yeah. So they show that Tom goes to the US. He says he's going to be gone for like 4 years, but
4 years. And I was like, you
no, thank you.
You boys overflowering us.
Oh God. I'm so glad that didn't happen. It's funny because I didn't catch it in my first watch. Thank God, because I don't remember what happened in the group chat, but I don't know if anybody caught the 4 years thing because
I didn't catch it until my second one either.
Yeah.
So I made because we had a few like Skippy issues when we were in the group one.
Yeah. During this part, yeah.
It's good. I didn't need it. I did not need it. I was like, oh, he's going away for work. Okay, this makes sense because time jump, and she didn't graduate high school when she was supposed to.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, she's got to go back to school, but it's good because they like these two can make it through anything. But he goes away for the year, and she talks about watching him from afar. Like she does say she's lonely. She does say I'm kind of lonely sometimes. I was like, oh, good. But she says that it's good to watch him grow from a distance. And then he makes the quip on the TV where he gets like the tie wrong.
Yeah.
And everybody laughs. And then Roselyn and Tia are watching the same news clip together. And Roselyn makes a note about, she's like, I should have taught him more Thai when he was a kid. And they have this really, really, really great moment where Tia says, what do you want to do tomorrow? And Roselyn says that she wants to get hot pot. And again, Gorya handing down the elixir of love and family and like being together and growing together. And also, because we've talked about this before, healing the mother-daughter split.
Yep.
This is the part in the story, which, I mean, this happens with, we talked about kind of Roselyn and Gorya being the mother-daughter because of the fact that Gorya is basically already married into their family. But this needed to happen too, to heal the generational.
This was as powerful for me as the mom and daughter in Meteor Garden 2018, which was exceptional, where they're laying in bed together because she's so tired. Oh, I love this too, because like the meaning in this story, they had a hot pot as a family, and the magic pork, and that a shared meal is the thing that Gorya directly taught Roselyn, and it requires you to sit close and converse.
Yeah, exactly.
And it literally, like, not to say that food is magical, but hot pots are kind of magical that way to like, right? They're not like, I'm not distracted, I'm not watching TV trying to eat. No, I'm sitting around a table. Like, we do fondues in my family, and you sit there for hours chatting because you're like, I'm cooking my meat here.
Yeah.
Or I'm dipping my cheese.
Yeah.
I'm having my chocolate. Like, you're like, especially if you have like different fondues, like you're there for a while, and that's a hot pot, right?
Yeah. And you're in a circle and you're all huddled together, and it's family time. It's really important. Yeah. That's a great moment. I really like that moment.
She looks happy.
Yeah.
Roselyn looks happy. Look at her.
She looks less like stern. Like she looks more gentle and more caring, and it's such a good moment with them. My goodness, so good.
Rule 76.
Yes.
To and from school every day, because I'm worried that some random dude will give her a ride, i.e. Halle.
Right.
Again. And no, and you need to hack her phone and block weirdos from her phone.
if no one should add her on social media. You need to block her. Yeah, or block them from her cell phone. Like, it's so funny. He super protective. That's, by the way, that's the shot where you can see more of the Sacred Heart on his shirt.
I'm looking. Oh, you can see the paint that in Ren's house. It's so
Yep.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I'm gonna think about that shirt. It's blue too, which is so interesting that they had like the black version and now a blue
I know, right? It's weird. It's really weird. I just knew it. I knew it would bother you. That's so funny. But yeah, and Gawin's wearing blue.
Or like kind of mad about it, but also like fine.
Right. But yeah, because Gawin and MJ are now kind of like wearing blue, which is Ren's colors, because Tom is away. Ren's wearing white. I love that Tom is also wearing white in the video call.
Yeah.
It's so good. And then that this is to show us that they are hovering around her. She says she wants to go to school, like, because I guess this is supposed to be her last day. So she's like, I want to go on my own. And they're like, okay, fine, we'll wish you good luck. And they both kiss her on the forehead.
Want to hear my headcanon?
Yeah.
Okay. So my headcanon is, because Tom sent them to go drive him every day. He was like, make sure you kiss her on the forehead. Good luck.
Yeah.
On her exams.
Totally.
This is my headcanon.
I love that.
And we get the 3 girls who have already graduated and are going to university, because that's like university outfits. Like,
yes. Yeah.
Because we see Haning in one later or earlier, one of them. She's in like the university school outfit. But I love how, and I pointed this out in the Who What Wear of Gawin, but I love how like they're kind of like by the love of Tom and his leather, like animal skin, like we're here for you. We're his representatives.
We're channeling him for you. Let's give you the love. Let's give like 8/16 of the love that he would give you if he was here.
Yeah.
It's so cute. But it's so adorable that the mean girls got like one last little hoorah. I was just pretty happy about that.
That's good.
And then they go to the school.
We see how the kingdom is healed.
The kingdom is healed.
No more red cards.
Can we talk about the books in her locker?
Like, yes.
Very briefly, because
I was like Harry Potter.
Yeah. So okay. So I'll just like, the one thing I have to say about it is that it's not about the content of the book.
Okay.
I think it's about the colors of the book.
Oh, okay.
I think because like if you I didn't get a good shot of it here because again I just had too much. You had a lot.
It's all good. Yeah.
But the colors of the markers in the
I saw that.
Right.
There's a blue one and
green
and
red, like a deep red.
Yeah.
And those are the same colors as Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, the UK version. So,
which is the version that's in the shelf.
Yeah. I have that version. Like I have the UK version. Now the other one. Did you look up anything about the other book?
No, I did nothing.
Okay, so I looked it up. It's really weird. It's called The Road to Omaha, and it's written by the guy who wrote the Born series.
And he has amnesia.
Yeah, but that's a different story.
No, I know.
The book that's in there is The Road to Omaha, which is like these books that he writes typically are about like one guy who like saves the world from these big conspiracies, essentially like these military political conspiracies, right? This has nothing to do with this show. Like I mean, I could like use some pretzel logic and like get there somehow, some way, but this book has nothing to do with the show. So I'm super curious if it's just an Easter egg and maybe this is like basketball. Maybe like one of the writers is like, I really like this book. I'm going to put it in Gorya's locker. Yeah.
We want to know the truth.
I want to know. I'm so confused.
Why The Road to Omaha?
Yeah. It's very weird.
When you make a choice, you tend to make symbolic choices. So why the road to Omaha?
Mm-hmm.
And the road to Omaha could be just because it's a beige book.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, it's like beige and got like red lettering.
Yeah.
Like, but again, like there's plenty of books that have similar coloring. Like, why that one?
I don't know.
Anyways, we'll move on.
We were looking too deep. Maybe we need to back up a bit.
I mean, well, yeah, we will move on from the books. It's very strange.
Oh, the bullying still happens, but it's not as severe.
Right. Yeah. And then she says like everything and now is just memories. Everything that's happened is just memories. Like
the world, again, the school is better.
Yeah. The school is better. The world is different. It's not a scary place anymore at the school. It's not like a horror movie. Like it was. And she goes to the rooftop and Brandon shows up. He gives her the box with the dress in it.
Yeah.
And
she pays him back money.
She pays him back the money from him paying off the villagers. And she says something like, everyone's getting back on track. I think my teenage life will finally see some happiness now. Just funny because we know that's never true when the character says that. But she pulls out this dress.
Oh my God, you were like this wedding dress in the group chat.
I mean, it's a wedding dress.
I know it is.
But it's also like the ugliest thing I've ever seen.
The ugliest. There's a giant heart on front. I was like, Tom, like, let your sister choose out the dresses next.
Yes. And even so, Gorya's face is like, what the heck is this? And even her mom's face is like, oh, that's
okay. Yeah, she really doesn't want to wear it. Yeah.
No, she doesn't want to wear it. I find it hilarious. Oh my goodness. I'm so glad she doesn't wear it. I wanted to see the other dress, but you know.
Can we just talk about how Nani exists in universe?
Oh, like the best life?
Yeah, like because you could see his name on the.
Oh, really? That's so funny.
When she clicks play on Best Life, you can actually see his name.
It says his name. Oh, that's so cute. I love it. Nani, you exist as both. It's his like long lost like twin brother.
Yeah, people were like, our Subway Dates was like, we'll get the long lost twin brother story now. And I'm like, yes, but it's all told through chicken stories.
Yes, exactly. Oh, it's too funny. And this is so interesting because the pickup truck thing, like, so it's an ad, obviously. Yeah. But there's a lot of cool stuff going on here. Like
she gets a truck.
Yeah. Well, her family gets the truck, I guess.
I know. It's just.
But she drives it.
Yeah.
And she embraces it. Like she embraces like the hard work, which shows us that she's not like a queen who's not wanting to get her hands dirty. Like she's not like, she's taken these sides of herself and she's continued on. Like she hasn't changed, but she's grown. It's different, right? Like she's just grown up. Like it's really cool that she's not of the world of the stars. She's always going to be both. She's always going to be the dirty, muddy girl.
Yeah. And she gets dirty because she's pushing the truck out and it sprays dirt on her. And then and she was dirty before, she's got dirt on her, so does Glacko. And then of course the dress gets chucked.
Oh, and can I also say this is the only time that Ren is wrong about Gorya.
Oh yeah.
He says, oh, she's probably getting ready. She's probably getting dressed up right now. Like
yeah, he wasn't paying too close attention to what was happening.
Yeah, just missed it.
Yeah, but I do love that they're like waiting there for her and they never go inside basically.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, I'm here for you. And I, and she's like all stuck, like people are finally moving forward except for me. But then she spots the red card, and we've talked about the recontextualization of symbols,
right?
Much before this. And
there was also a moment too right before that. Like,
okay,
she says that so she looks up at the sky and she can't see any stars because the clouds are covering the stars.
Oh.
Yeah. So it goes along with her line of like feeling sorry. You know, she's like feeling sorry for herself. She's like, everyone's moving forward but me. And she had said that earlier in the show. She said that like a long time ago. So it's just very weird. But anyways, yeah, the clouds are covering the stars and then she finds the red card. So
yeah, and nothing has changed. That's the thing. Nothing has changed. Well, actually it has because of F4, and she literally picks up the F4 card, which the symbol has changed.
Yeah,
I've talked about this so much. The symbol has changed, and we want that. Like you and I both, as soon as the DVDs went for sale, we're like, we're buying those DVDs because it comes with F4 cards.
Yeah, it does.
That are thank you cards.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna friggin' frame them.
Yes. I'm gonna make amazing,
stylistic, amazing artwork for these FR cards. And like I'm obsessed that I get that. Like if I can't get a jersey, then I will get that. I might make a jersey. Like
yeah, we should make jerseys.
Oh my
God,
sounds
like fun.
But so yeah, like this is important because it is not only just like the scavenger hunt aspect where she's like finding each new card, but it's also symbolic of the journey that she's gone through. And like every time she kind of got hurt and how you've grown from this.
Yeah. You find a new way forward. You find a new door. You find a new path. That's what these red cards are showing her.
And it had to be her journey, you know? Like, and
she does it by herself. She's alone. Yeah. It's in the dark. Like, it's so good. But then she comes to the stadium, which again, I mean, I'm so glad it happened this way. It didn't need to, but
we wanted it so badly.
Oh god.
Because it means something.
Yeah.
That this is no longer a place of pain. Symbols change, right? Because things have been healed.
Yeah.
The F4 card has changed. The stadium has changed.
Yeah. And then she's like, is this all you're doing? And Ren says, the person who gave you the red card is waiting for you inside, which would have meant something totally different a long time ago.
Yep.
But they lead her through exactly the same way that the F4 had entered at the very, very beginning of the show. It's the same shot. Like it's exactly the same shot with their backs.
It is.
Yeah. But they're putting her forward. Like she's the first one, whereas Tom had been the first one before. And
Queen stuff. Yeah.
Queen stuff. Yeah.
And there's grass and flowers and things growing up on the stadium, and there's grass in front of the giant screen.
Yeah.
So
there's
good.
no more water, no more stagnant water, which was poisoning everyone essentially. Almost drowned her.
Yeah.
And it's not there anymore, but everything is growing. And of course
we get the stars and the meteor that shoots across the sky to show us enter Tom.
Yes, enter Tom, who traveled there immediately.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he's like, there's a lot of things going on. Like, why did you make me wait? And where's your dress? She's like, I got it muddy. And
it was really, really not my style.
Yeah, right. I'm glad it got muddied. But he said this suits you better anyway. And then he says, like, aren't you upset that it's your prom and like your boyfriend isn't here?
It's like the trick that he did in the hospital again.
Yeah, it is.
Like it's this like rich person trick.
Did you say that in the chat? Somebody said
no,
like,
somebody
rich
said
person
it.
Trick. Yeah,
it was like a rich person trick. I think it was June.
It's so funny. Yeah. It's so funny.
But I was like, oh my god.
Yeah. Yeah. And she's like, no, I'm not upset. You have to work. And he's like, what?
Yeah, this is the equivalent of the Meteor Garden 2018. Like, like you're suddenly marrying F4 instead of or the rest of F4 instead of me or whatever.
Yes.
It's weird, but they like made it work. I don't know.
They did make it work. It
Yeah.
was really cool. I love when they all show up. They tell them, okay, come on, like you're going too far now. Like, let's just do it. Just reveal. And then they have this cute moment where they all get in the frame and they all look at her and she's like, wait a sec. Like, aren't you in the US? And they all like lean further into the frame, like, Gorya, come on, you're smarter than this. Like,
yeah,
like, come on. Can't you figure out the trick? And then they all come out.
They re-enter.
Yep.
It.
They re-enter
as like their king and his knights. Yeah.
Just like they did in the first episode, like they did when they came in the first time.
Yeah, and it's really interesting that like Ren is in white and Gowan is in gray sparkly.
Yeah.
And MJ is in all black with his like little moon. It's like they're different versions of celestials.
Yeah. And I'm actually kind of I'm like night blind, so sometimes I can't decipher between black and blue. But isn't MJ's like a little more navy blue, or is that just like
it was black?
Okay, all right. That's me not being able to determine black from blue. But yeah, like I know we wanted to talk about Tom's outfit here.
Yeah, can I talk about it?
Yeah, this is so interesting.
So he has red shoes on, just to start, which I like freaked out about because I'm like, shoe symbolism for Tom is like huge.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, good shoes, my love will take me to my love.
Yeah.
And then the red tie, which is like, I am now the slave of love.
Oh, I like that.
Because ties are the symbolic like chain.
Right, the chain stuff, yeah.
That he wears around, but now it's red. Like he is now, he now lives by love.
Yeah.
And the suit itself is like this brocade. I thought it was velvet at first, but it's actually like a brocade where it's got this pattern on it and it's like his animal skin. But like, you know, like we showed like the shaved tiger.
Yes.
Talked about the shaved tiger. It's like that.
Yeah. I also thought it was really fascinating that like, so we talked a lot about integration and how he has to be both the monster and the lover. And that's the only way he can move forward and heal everyone, because he has to be able to teach that lesson.
He has to be able to show you that he came back from it.
Yeah, that he was a monster.
And that's where I was like, the integration happens in the
yes
final thing.
It's like, right there now. And also another thing is like the fact that he was a black rose and he transitioned into a red rose. Yeah, well, he's still the black rose. And the openings, like for all of the, you know, like in the between the episodes or between the parts of the show where they have like the flowers, they do like a flower transition thing before the ads.
There's both red and black roses. Yeah,
there's both red and black. Yeah, he is both the black rose and the red rose. And the fact that they like deleted the black rose, like Hale deleted the black rose, right, in the Atonement episode, but in this episode he has to go back to the monster that he was again, and he has to take it back, like undelete it essentially.
You have to own your shadows. Yeah.
Like, and that's exactly
and
what
integrate
he's doing.
them.
It's so cool. And I think when we saw that he was in this outfit in that shoot, or the picture that we got of the final, and they were saying this is the final day, and it was clearly like it was very clearly like the final scene, we all thought, or at least the most important scene of the last episode. He was in this outfit and I was like, I don't understand.
Yeah, but you need context to like understand symbols, right? Like, and this is just perfect. I'm very so happy. Like, as somebody who like obsessed about the costumes all season, this is just perfect.
Yeah, I agree. It's very cool. All right. And then he says, this is not the surprise. It's not just that I'm here. This is the surprise. And he snaps his fingers like the god that he is. Yeah. And everything brightens up.
And it's a meteor garden.
Yep. Complete with stars and flowers all throughout. It's so cool. And then we get this fake out proposal. Just so funny because it does a lot of things.
Okay, so
right.
He did actually propose.
Yeah.
But he said, but you might want to go to school first, and I'm in a rush if you're not in a rush. Essentially saying I'm ready when you're ready.
They've had this conversation before. I think that they left out like something. I think that they purposefully left out something. But he says, like, I know that you want to go and finish your studies. You should go for it. Like, essentially, he says, like, if you want to continue your studies, like, you're not going to be ready till then. That's fine. Like, they've had this conversation before about their needs and wants, which is huge. Mm-hmm. Like,
maybe he wants to be proposed to.
Yeah, that'll be the special that I want. That's what I want. I want to see Gorya propose to Tom.
Like he would just be over the moon.
Yeah.
But no, it really is like about the idea that he's willing to entirely do things on her schedule. And that's so like, and he'll just support her however she needs.
Yeah. Yep.
I would say like in other versions, the main female lead was always like marriage shy in a way, or like relationship shy,
intimacy shy in general.
Yeah, that's not Gorya, which is also really nice too. I think that she would have said yes had he proposed, but he doesn't want to make her feel like,
Yeah, he wants her to find her happiness, just like he found his.
Yeah, like what's your mission in life? You're just graduating high school now. You can figure that out, and you can have time to figure that out without the pressure of having to be like my wife, which comes with a huge scope of new added everything.
Yeah, definitely.
I was hoping that we would get like what she wanted to be, but that's what fan fiction is for. Yeah, and also she'll figure that out with her studies in college, right? Like they've been alluding to her doing something like that, and they've shown us that she's curious and that she wants to know about his world. So I think that they delivered on it enough to give us the headcanon, enough to tell us like Gorya would want to I also can't believe that they gave us a "why are you booing me, I'm right" meme. That was funny. I saw you use it today. I thought it was hilarious. I just couldn't get his face. I gotta like move the subtitle to a different part of the There's a moment. Good part. There's a good moment there that it'll be perfect. It's so good. Like right there. Like, somebody make that for me so I can use it. Yeah. Why are you booing me? I'm right. Exactly. That's so funny. And then MJ announces like everybody's here. Let's party. Like let's have our prom point 2 or prom point 2. I don't know. Yeah. And they all start dancing, and it's so cool because she's talking about where she was before all of this and how much her life has changed and what caused that change to happen. And it introduces each of the boys to talk about their impact. Yeah. So I wrote some of this down because the beginning, especially, it was really, really good. She says, thinking about it, life is funny. Sometimes it takes you to face so many things when you're not ready. Because of that, you meet new people. You fight, make mistakes, try to understand, learn, and grow. A group of people has helped me grow the most. It's them. And this is good because this is the reason this show is called F4. Exactly. Exactly. And it's because like it's Gorya's perspective of F4. Yeah. And like so good. And it also like just the lens of the show allows us way more Tom of Gorya lens than just everything from Gorya's perspective. And this is great. It's so good. It's so good. And so she starts dancing with MJ first. And she says,
under this kind of rough exterior, he's got a sensitive side. And this is something she learned about him. Like, again, she's not telling us what she did. She's not saying like, I inspired them to be different and to grow, even though she did. But this is about what she learned and how they changed her. Yeah.
And also like who they truly were underneath, that she was able to uncover and cultivate.
Yep, exactly. There's a sensitive side under all of that, and it shows them working with the kid, like, or like kind of comforting the kid. And then she starts dancing, and then kind of MJ like spins her into Gawin, and she says how Gawin is like a playboy of noble blood.
Yeah.
But the more I got to know him, the more I saw the delicate side of him with like his work with the flowers and all of that. My thing is frozen. Okay. And then they show the scene
warmer and more committed than I would have expected.
Yeah. This is the scene with Gawin and Haning, and Haning is like asleep, and there's a little drawing that she drew of herself and him.
The doll.
And the doll is there. And he kisses her.
He kisses her on the cheek. And okay, can we talk about this for a quick moment? I think this is perfect.
Absolutely. Yes.
So like Gawin was traditionally known to moving too fast and like ending relationships too fast. And so from a character perspective, I think he's moving at the pace that Haning is willing to move.
Yeah.
Like letting her lead. I think from like an out of show perspective, I think they didn't want to have a full kiss because Prim was underage. So this is a good medium.
Yeah.
I think. Also, if you have not seen Closer by Win, which was just like a promotional video with Prim and Win, watch it. It's totally like canon for me.
Yeah, I saw y'all sharing that today. It was so funny. I love it. I love their relationship.
It's great.
I like that it's really sweet. I like that it's very like innocent, because again, yeah, we want to see like our girl, like we want to see our girls grow up. We want to see them like pardon me for this, but we want to see them get some. I mean, right? Like, we're adults, but they're not adults.
Yeah.
They're still teens, and that's the closing of this story, is when they're still teens. So,
and fan fiction exists forever. So
exactly.
Write your fic is them growing up.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. Heck yeah. Yeah. So then Gawin spins her into Ren's arms, and then they dance.
Oh man, this hit me right in the feels. My first love who's out of my reach.
Yeah. I like this. An artist who leaves anyone guessing what's on his mind. Which might as well be Deux as well, by the way. Like, I love how much like they're so similar. And then she says, finally, he's someone who can see right through me the most. It must be fate that has taken us through so much together. Like, oh, it's so good.
And what's certain is Ren's journey ahead will be beautiful. And I was like, Lita? Like, I literally,
me too.
I was like, wait a second, that would be great. Just like, it's dumb. I just want little vignette stories.
I know.
That's where I need like fan fiction writers to be like, there's more to tell here.
I know. I'm definitely gonna write a Ren Lita fanfic. I haven't decided what the rating will be yet, because I can't.
You also owe us a Hana MJ one, because there is actual like story inspiration. Like, you can pull from the manga and stuff.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah, that would be really fun. Both of those I probably will do.
Pretty please. I've been very good.
I know, right? I know.
Yeah.
So good.
I just wanted to, before we get into Tom's dance, so they're all doing the jive.
Yeah.
It's jazz. And we saw some of the practice, and it's jazz, full on jazz music.
Yep.
And what I love about jive is like, it's literally joy in dance form, and it's like super improvisational. I mean, this was obviously choreographed, but there's actually a move that when Tom and Gorya link arms, and you'll see it probably in the clips that you've got of Tom and her, that they actually form an infinity symbol with their arms.
Yes.
That was amazing. That was Jenny SL or Gioni SL on Twitter.
Yep.
I was like, oh my God, that was so good.
Yep.
So
cool.
It's just like the fact that it was like jive. Like he literally, like they jive, like he offers his hands and they jive, they in and out jive. But like the whole thing was different jive moves, which I love jiving.
It's really, really, really cool that they did this for many reasons. Like, I mean, this mirrors the Hana Yori Dango Japanese version. Because they do a dance there. This is very similar in terms of it being kind of silly, like a court dance.
Yeah.
But in that version, it doesn't fit as well as this version. Like this version, like it fits so much better because we have so much court symbolism going on.
Yep.
This is the court. They're in the court.
Yeah, they're having like the court celebration of their marriage. They're married.
Yeah.
They married symbolically.
Yeah, officially. Exactly.
And now they're ruling forever.
Yep. And they do the moves that like prove to us that like they are in a partnership now, like they're together, because like this is like dancing like this with another person. Like this is very like evocative of like Regency era stories.
Yeah, I thought that too. Like definitely you see some of this dancing like handwork in like Bridgerton or in Emma or in Pride and Prejudice, like hand on hand and like different twirling and stuff, but it's also jive. I just, it's cool.
Honestly, I think the reason why they chose jive is because it's really easy to get the beats, whereas like kind of more Regency era stuff is like really hard to get it to the music. I mean, I've done like swing dancing, and it's like so much easier to teach somebody like that kind of step than it is to teach someone like a more complicated.
It's usually in 4-beat, right? 1, 2, 3, 4.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So it's like I can see, like, especially in their practicing videos and whatnot, like this was something that was the easiest to teach, but was fun. Everything from the waist up that's actually being captured looks like a Regency era dance. Like it's very weird. And they do all this like kind of like lovingly like caressing stuff. Like he's grabbing her waist and she's touching his face. It's so good. And she says here, because of Tom, I've learned that the strongest thing isn't money or power, it's heart. And she says, and I think that he's won over my heart completely. Right? She says, I'm sure. I think that's what she says. Yeah, that his heart has won over me completely. That's what she says.
Yeah.
So good. So they end their dance, and then they do the 10 seconds in heaven thing. Like they turn off the lights.
Talk about that for a second.
Which part?
10 seconds in heaven.
Oh yeah.
So it's like something from previous versions. It was like it's been in like Meteor Garden 2018 and like other
that's typically when they kiss for the first time.
Yeah, it's an accident. She trips and but yeah, that's the thing. So they brought it back, but also like we've talked about all of the celestial metaphors and symbols throughout this whole show. 10 seconds in heaven, like she's literally in the stars now.
Yeah.
And she's backlit by the stars. They literally go to the stars. That's the symbolism that's happening.
Yeah, I had it in my my name the last few days. I don't know if anybody saw it, but I changed my name.
Gorya gets
ascending. Gorya ascending.
Ascending in 3 days or something like that.
Yeah. And I'm like, this is literally it. Like it ended with Gorya ascending and both of them ascending like together
into the sky. Yeah.
What? Yeah. What is this show? Nuts.
And then we get the tie, we get the tie grab, which I was like, if we get a tie grab, I'll be so, and we did. Like, it's like they were like, oh, that tie grab in Meteor Garden 18 was really good. And
Yeah.
then they gave it to me. They listened to me. And
They
then they
did.
ended on a fairy tale kiss. Like,
Yes.
I know it's backlit and it's like, you were like, I'm mad for a moment.
I was mad. I was very mad.
But I think it's perfect. Like,
Yeah.
like I understand all of the choices that they made for her wearing her school costume, her school outfit, but
Mm-hmm.
everything else, like I have no notes. You guys delivered a perfect show to me.
Yeah, I mean, like, I was I was mad just because the whole episode I was asking, I was like, kiss, kiss, kiss. But like that's just my expectation. That's just what I wanted. Like, that doesn't make it a bad choice to not have
Yeah,
them
it's kind
kiss in
of
a way I
reminds
wanted.
me like of a kiss, like a classic Hollywood kiss at the end of a movie.
Yep.
And then like the screen like closes in on that. Like, it
Mm-hmm.
reminded me of that. I also said the silhouettes reminded me of
Yep.
classic 1960s photography of weddings, like where you would only get the silhouettes of them.
Yeah, and they would typically, like, you would frame that in your home and they'd be like facing the same way. And
Yeah, facing the same way.
yeah.
Like, to me, that's what I'm like, mom and dad are married. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Like, that's that's what the show is telling me.
Yeah. The line though here, right?
The line is perfect.
Yeah.
This is the point that I was trying to make at the beginning of the show, which is
Yeah.
like find your joy, and that
Yeah.
will lead you to making the world a better place.
Yeah.
Ordinary teenagers can change the world. And sometimes, yeah, miracles, fight with all your heart and miracles will happen. Like, you can make your new reality. And that's Gorya telling us to take the seeds of this
Mm-hmm.
message with us and believe that we can make a better life and a better place and bring the elixir to everyone else.
Exactly. Yeah, I'll read the exact quote. She says,
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. You did a great job summarizing though. She says, I believe that if you fight with all your heart, if we fight with all our hearts, she draws that in more, miracles will happen. And the miracle can be something valuable, something that makes your heart race the fastest like nothing else.
This is a fairy tale.
This is a fairy tale. I
This
love
is to remind us that change is possible.
Yeah,
And
and
that
I
the
love
world can be better.
Yeah. She says when she says that something that makes your heart race the fastest like nothing else is all of the shots of her having very personal, almost intimate moments with Tom.
Yeah.
And to show us that like her heart has been racing all the times that these things happen.
She felt these things.
Yeah, she felt this way this whole time. And it's just like giving into that and like releasing,
allowing yourself to be loved and love in return.
Exactly. This is
Yeah.
It's all super important. And then the kiss, which is not the last important thing
No.
that happens, because there's a quick shot, like, so it's not captured in the GIF because it happens so fast and the quality of the GIF is not that great, but there's a tiny flash
of the meteors
of just one. Oh, but it's just one first,
just
right?
one.
Right.
Yeah.
There's just one first, and it's just the one in the middle, like just one. But then it flashes a little bit more obvious, all 5 meteors, and the one in the middle is bigger. So it's like Gorya and like the F4. Just so cool.
I love this show so much.
It's so cool. It's so cool. Like, we could talk about this for like many more hours, but we can't. But we could. But we can't.
I need to eat.
Yeah, me too.
But to me, it's like just important, like strong endings, riding off in the sunset, the unknown potential of tomorrow that's going to be better than it was today, are so important.
Yeah, this was a happily ever after. This was a you know, Tom and Gorya are going to be together forever. Their problems are not completely over, because your problems can never be completely over. You're going to have conflict, but we can imagine that conflict and we can headcanon that conflict. It's interesting. It's very, very interesting what they decided to leave off.
I love how Path is like, this is very satisfying. And I'm like, yes, you are correct, sir. You are correct. This is very satisfying. And we get a few flashes of like really wonderful moments of the cast, like just celebrating this final thing that they created. And I'm really happy this was their last scene, because they almost got to have a party to celebrate everything and like all be dressed up. And like, it's like a cast party, but it was also just like everything is done finally.
Yeah. And it had to have been so satisfying for him, because they had been shooting it out of order for 2 years. And to do it the last, like, that's really cool for him. That's really cool for all of them to close it out this way. But so good, so satisfying.
I love this production. I love this cast and crew. Path, I have a deep amount of love for you. I love y'all.
Same. Yeah. Everyone that worked on this deserves all the love, all the praises. Thank you so much for all of this. And just as a reminder, because I don't want to get too emotional, I don't want to say goodbye right now, because it's not goodbye. Next week we are doing a live stream. We're going to talk about everything we're going to try to talk about everything we couldn't talk about. So please join us for that. It's going to be really fun. Did you have any last final words
on this? Thank you for coming along on this journey with us. For the deep dive specifically and the OSTs. They're always going to be there for people who you drag into this, but I think like the episode said it so well, which is that it's think about how you, a teen or an adult, or you living in your life, can change the world around you. Can really make a difference, because like that's the reason we tell this story in this way, and we make it so symbolic, and we make it so speak to us and resonate with us, is that we they want it to stick with you. Something.
The story is the elixir. Take it with you, do something with it, change the world. All right, guys, thanks everyone for coming on this journey with us. Please don't forget to check out our future projects, our next week's live stream. Both of us have further things we want to talk about this in terms of video essays. We might be doing other projects in the future, so follow us on Twitter if you haven't already. And love y'all. See some of you next week.
Cheers.